What's happening, everybody? Welcome to Let the Madness Begin, LTMB Live with your regular host. I'm Will Gaillard.
And I'm Mike White.
What's up, everybody? This is February the 1st, 2018, Thursday.
Black History Month.
The official start of Black History Month.
Or what that dude, the dude slipped up on CNN. When he said slay.
Yeah.
Minorities.
Talking about black people.
Black people. He said slay.
Yeah.
Black people.
What was that, on CNN? You
Yeah.
said CNN? Yeah. I forgot the name of that guy, but that was interesting. But yeah, hope everybody's doing well. Appreciate everybody that has joined us today. We have a lot to talk about. What's up, Jenny Lynn, Lori, Grandma Christine, always in the house. Let's bring Facebook in.
Boy, so, y'all on time today, boy.
Yeah.
Y'all on time today.
All right. What's going on, Facebook? How's everybody doing? Welcome to the show. Let the madness begin.
I'm hoping everybody, what's up, Angie? I hope everybody don't got a State of the Union hangover.
Yeah, man.
Yo,
because we got some stuff to say about it, so
hopefully some of the stuff I was saying during it is not gonna come out now. I had to get it out of my system.
Yeah, man, we were acting the fool watching.
Yeah, man, we was acting the fool, man.
That,
you know, it should have been something. You know what? It should have been something we live streamed.
Yeah,
you know, like that kind of election.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. Y'all might have saw a side of us.
Yeah,
well,
man.
at least me.
Yeah, Mike was getting a little rowdy over here. Straight up. What's up, Nala? Yeah, everything going okay? You can hear us fine. Audio is okay. Video is all right. And that fake soft voice he uses so creepy. She's talking about Trump, that soft voice. Yeah, he was gentle. He was trying to be gentle with his delivery.
He was trying to. I think maybe he was trying to both be gentle and trying to, you know, make sure he doesn't trip over his words.
Yeah, maybe.
Because I mean, he was obviously taking a lot of time.
Yeah,
he's like taking a lot of his, you know, his sweet time to get through it. It was like one of the longest speeches, one of the longest State of the Unions.
Was it?
I think somebody said it was like one. It was really long, but it was long because Muggins got up after every damn sentence.
Oh man,
and clapped.
Yeah,
I'm like, God, dog.
See, this is what look. There's some tradition that, you know, I'm fine with, but when it comes to the tradition of how the State of the Union, how the proceedings go, standing up and clapping after every single point the president makes, and I don't care if that it's Donald Trump or if it was Barack Obama, whoever it is, it's just, come on, man, let him get this stuff out the way. Actually, what he's saying is all, I mean, it's all lip service until somebody actually analyzes it and goes to the backstory and sees if what he's saying actually holds weight. Like, why are we standing because he said some words? Like, you know, most of it was not inspirational, so it's like,
I mean, well, here's the thing. Like, I mean, what were you expecting? I mean, were you expecting to see something? Yeah, exactly. I mean, not just the same old in regards to State of the Union addresses, but what were your expectations for Trump? Realistically, like, my expectations were not really high. I did not expect him to go into detail, into some sort of like I guess detail about how he wants to go forth with some sort of agenda. I didn't expect him to go in detail or talk insightfully about anything, because he hasn't talked insightfully about anything ever. And you know what I'm saying?
But do his supporters even want that from him?
No, they don't.
To go into depth.
They don't care.
No.
Like, I just been kind of like looking at different reactions, and mostly I'm not going to look at the reactions of, you know, I would say those who are kind of opposed to, you know, a lot of things this administration is doing. You already know that, you know, people are going to pick it apart. I was more interested in seeing like how a lot of his supporters, you know, would respond to it. And if you go to a lot of his supporters pages, you know, it's kind of the same old run in the mill. Yeah, he does a great speech. I want more of it. He's making America great again. He's bringing back jobs. He's doing things that Obama and Hillary couldn't do. I can't believe the Democrats were so disrespectful. And blah, blah, blah. I'm just like, okay. I was like, basically, what I'm seeing is that State of the Union addresses don't really flip people. They don't really.
Oh, please.
They don't.
No.
They don't really do anything.
No. And they keep everybody exactly where they are.
And to be honest, even the rebuttals don't do anything. Even if the rebuttals come from somebody we like Bernie Sanders, I don't think they don't really, cause any kind of earthquakes or political earthquakes at all.
It's because most people, like I just said, wherever they are, they're going to stay exactly where they are. So if Trump is the president right now, so whatever Trump is saying, his word is gold. It doesn't matter that it's actually lip service and that there's no weight behind it. There's no substance whatsoever. Like, we can pick it apart because we can go deeper and actually dive into what he's saying and say, like, okay, that's bullshit. Okay, this is why it's not accurate. But the other side will do that. The other side, the people that don't support Trump, they'll do that. Now, when it's flipped, if it's like a Democratic candidate or a Democratic president, whatever, seems like those same people that will pick apart the other side cannot do the same to their own person.
They just
like the people that they support, the party that they support.
They just take everything at face value.
No,
so it doesn't really adjust people's thinking or their attitude.
People on both sides act the same way.
But is it like? I guess what can you chalk that up to be about? Is it about like them being, brainwashed or just delusional? Is it more like they brainwashed by the two-party politics system, or is it they're so delusional to want something, I guess, to see something good, that they will kind of imagine that this person that is speaking is doing the things that they're talking about?
It's all of that. It's all of that. But it is, I believe it's a lot of the, I guess a lot of the emphasis has to be placed on the two-party system, because most people find themselves in one party or the other. So that kind of shapes exactly how they're going to receive information.
And how they perceive information too.
Yep.
So when it's information coming from what they perceive as the other side, is going to automatically
be wrong.
They're going to automatically dismiss it.
Right.
No doubt. So when it's coming from a voice that they value or cherish, it's just going to be taken at face value regardless of whether it's true or not.
Right. And they won't do any work to actually.
And sometimes, in a lot of cases, they'll actually invent things that this person is doing, which happened as well.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. This is like, I just had State of the Union hangover, man, because I was just like, man, I'm just really tired of the responses, man. I think, unfortunately, like, how people have responded to each other is like very childlike. It just feels like just children arguing and bickering back and forth.
So let's get into the night's activities, the Trump speech, and some of the other
particulars.
And there's so much to be said. We're not going to go into exactly the whole speech, because, like I said, that would take us forever. But from what Trump shaped this speech to be, was to be a speech that was going to heal the nation, a unifying speech. And so on that front, I think he failed dramatically. Now, if you just take the speech for itself, if you just take, like I said, just the lip service, not actually diving into actually what he said and figuring out if he's full of shit or not, then the speech is like, it's okay.
It's run of the mill.
Yeah,
okay.
just
like,
run of the mill.
Like, I'll give him credit for like actually not tripping up.
Yeah,
very
true.
much. I don't recall.
Well, use the teleprompter.
Oh yeah, but I'm saying, like, that's not easy, and especially it's not easy for somebody like Trump, who's in his 70s and who is not really articulate himself. Even reading off a teleprompter for him, whatever. For a long.
You remember he used to bash teleprompters. You remember he used to bash them.
That's Trump. So I mean, I guess on like a mundane level, it was whatever.
Yeah. Like the certain things that he was going into during the speech. He said the State of the Union is strong, okay, and it's like we're on our way. America being great again, whatever the hell that means, right? So he took this opportunity to highlight a few areas. He talked a lot about the tax cuts. Yep.
Talked about North Korea.
Yeah.
He talked about Iran. He talked about prison.
Yeah.
He talked about, of course,
about healthcare,
immigration.
Yeah, immigration, crime.
Well,
America first.
I think that is probably kind of the most, I guess, important point to make
Yeah,
about how he
jumble those together. Yeah,
immigration, crime, gangs, and prison, like all that together.
Yeah, he tied them all together very purposely. It was a very like seamless shift, because he was talking about the gangs, but at the same time he talked about crime, and he highlighted this family that had a loved one die because of gang activity, I guess because of some people that had came across the border, some undocumented immigrants that were affiliated with the MS-13 gang that ended up killing their loved ones.
So basically he found some Hispanics to use as props to disparage undocumented Mexicans or undocumented individuals, or particularly Mexicans,
and saying that this is a huge problem. See, we have to keep ourselves safe because this kind of stuff will happen.
Yeah, so basically using them as props.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying? Oh, look at this family over here whose daughters were murdered by dreamers. I mean, psychopath.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? That's kind of what that was about.
But he lumped there's no difference. He lumped them all in the same. Like, we have to do something about this immigration problem because it's wreaking havoc on our nation, and our people are being endangered. They're not safe
because they're bringing crime and drugs.
No doubt.
That's kind of what he said. He's and he did say something about the open borders have caused this.
Yes.
Even though immigration is on a what?
Well, from Mexico, it's on a net negative.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
A net negative. More people leaving than coming. Okay. And it's been like that for a little while, too.
Correct.
Going back to 2015, 2016. Net negative. But we have a serious problem, though. Because we don't even have open borders. We don't have open
borders. I don't like how he linked it to the economy, because he says that these illegal immigrants are taking jobs away from low-skilled Americans.
Low-skilled Americans.
When that's actually not even true, because it shows that there's always an abundance of demand for these jobs, regardless of how many immigrants come over, legally or illegally. So regular Americans aren't even seeking these jobs. You know what I'm saying?
But he doesn't want to make that point, though.
But if you think about it, to me, the point actually is disparaging to certain Americans, because you're saying that, hey, we'll get these people out of here, and you can take those low-paying jobs.
Yeah, so you can't be able to provide for your family.
So yeah, exactly.
You'll be whatever.
So the struggle will be real for you.
Yeah. He also said something about he was calling on Congress to close a loophole that allows people to come across the border. Now, did you understand what he meant by that? Because that didn't make any sense to me.
There is no loophole.
A loophole that allows people to come across the border. So I'm thinking, is this a physical loophole?
Like it's like a trap door?
Yeah. Because you're essentially what he's saying is that Congress is enabling agents across on the border to just allow people to come into the country without papers, without any kind of permission. And there's a loophole for that? I don't understand. We don't have open borders. You have to have the right kind of documents to get into the country. Now, people do cross over without that legal paperwork, without that official paperwork. But that's not because of a loophole.
Maybe he's just talking about people who can bring their family over. Maybe he's not really talking about a loophole, really. He's calling it a loophole because he doesn't like it. You know what I'm saying?
All right. One thing that I was very much expecting him to talk about, which he did, but that I didn't appreciate, was that he talked about the black unemployment rate. And of course, he was going to talk about that. He said that the black unemployment rate is at a historic level. It's never been this low, which seems to be true, right? Now, seems that President Trump and his administration wants to take a lot of credit for this. But there's a few things that needs to be discussed when you're talking about the black unemployment rate. First of all, it had been falling under President Obama.
It was already on a decline.
And under President Obama, it was making more gains, way more gains than under President Trump.
So it's not like like it was a changing trend. It was already trending
It's
down.
a continuing trend, right? And second of all, President Trump has been hostile to the black community. So miss me with the idea that Trump specifically targeted the black community to get the unemployment rate down.
You know how you target, the black community to get the unemployment rate down? You stop criminalizing them. You stop demonizing them.
But he doesn't do that.
He doesn't do that. But I think like on a bigger note, I just don't like it when like the dominant, I guess the dominant culture likes to highlight issues, like I guess showing how they're in favor of like black people in a particular area. You know what I'm saying? Like they like to like point out, hey, look at what we're doing for black people. They like to highlight that. But I'm thinking, I don't know what to call it. I don't know, like I guess I'll call it conditional identity politics. Because essentially that's what it is. So you're highlighting a particular demographic and you want to point out how you're doing good things for this demographic. But to me, isn't that identity politics? Because technically, like if I or you or anyone else that's like an advocate for, I guess, issues that disproportionately affect black people negatively, that's called identity politics and it's dismissed. But when the dominant culture wants to point out something they perceive they're doing well, they will point it out.
Yes, they will.
To me, that seems like identity politics, right? If you want to point out something good that you're doing for a group, but yet you dismiss when things are brought up that maybe disproportionately affect that same group, you call that identity politics and you just dismiss it.
You mean like how NFL players are taking the need to bring awareness to an issue that is affecting the black community?
That disproportionately affects them. That's called identity politics.
And you demonize them.
You demonize it. I just don't understand that.
And look, we're not saying that the continuing trend of the fall in unemployment rate for black people is bad. No, we're glad for that. But a few more things. First of all, there's no mention of the rate still being double the rate of white unemployment. No mention of that. No mention of how you're gonna get or close that gap. Second of all, I think we can all remember a time when candidate Trump disparaged President Barack Obama because he was saying that President Obama wasn't doing anything for the black community. He wasn't helping black people at all. He also painted a picture saying that the black unemployment rate, you can't trust it. It's actually much higher.
So basically when it was trending down,
he was saying bullshit.
He said, don't trust it. You can't trust that.
Right.
You can't trust that.
So now President Trump is basically telling us, oh, you know what? We can trust it now. Since I'm president, we can trust the black unemployment rate that is falling.
See, I'm look at the black unemployment. It's this rate. See, I'm good for blacks. Like, get out of here, man.
Yeah, man. See, and see, that's something that we can dive into and actually give you the facts about it. But his supporters are just gonna be like, hey, host, snap!
I can't understand black people. I can't understand why these black people are just not supporting
They should
Trump.
like him. That he's actually helping you guys. Come on, you gotta come around. Let me get out of here, man. One thing that he said that I'll definitely be paying attention to. He said that one of his greatest priorities for 2018 is to reduce the price of prescription drugs. Oh, we're going to be paying attention to that. We're definitely going to be paying attention to that because seems like members of Congress, both parties, don't want to get that done.
He knows good and well he's just saying that. He's just saying that, knowing good and well that Congress is not going to come to any kind of resolution because both parties.
Didn't we just talk about that?
Yeah, we just talked about that.
Not too long. Yeah, not too long ago, right?
There was I guess you would call it an overstated metric that he brought up that seems to always be a talking point, and unfortunately, like a lot of poor people bring up this talking point, and that's he touted like the gains in the stock market. But I don't understand why. Well, I understand why politicians do it,
right?
But I don't understand why regular people always tout that. You know what I'm saying? Like, why
it helps them, right?
And like, I'm like, I think it was like 80% of stocks are owned by the 10%, the richest 10%.
Yeah, I believe so.
So like stock market gains don't mean anything for regular Americans.
People don't own stocks.
Yeah, they don't mean. It doesn't mean anything for regular Americans.
It's not helping you whatsoever. But you're celebrating it. Oh, it's good. It's gonna help me. It's gonna help the country. No, it's not.
And you got dumb people celebrating too. Like, stock market that I don't have any stock in. I don't get no dividend checks, but get out of here.
He also said that he ended the war on clean coal. He ended the war on clean coal,
and now it's beautiful. It's like that beautiful clean coal. You can't go without saying beautiful. He said beautiful clean coal.
No matter how you dress up coal, it's dirty as hell. Look what it does to the environment. Look what it does to our atmosphere. Coal is not clean.
If coal was wearing a pair of drawers, it would be full of skin marks.
The cleanest coal you can find, man. Yeah, skin marks all over them drawers, man. Clean coal. Man, get out of here, man.
Beautiful clean coal.
Talked about protecting religious liberty. Of course, by discriminating. We've talked about that before. One statement that he made, and this was about immigration as well. He was calling on members of Congress to, band together on immigration reform. And he said to defend Americans, to protect their safety, their families, their communities, and their right to the American dream, because Americans are dreamers too. Now, that was some bullshit right there.
Oh, but there was a lot of people that loved that.
There were a lot of white nationalists that loved that.
What do you say?
There were a lot of white nationalists that loved that too.
True that. But my thing is, it's not like the dreams are remotely similar at all. Like Americans aren't, under threat for their livelihood being taken away.
Yes.
Not in the same way. And so it's kind of like pits these two groups of people against each other, when what is hurting the typical American person, or the American individual is not undocumented immigrants. You see what I'm saying? It puts the hardships of Americans on the backs of undocumented immigrants. That's what it was designed to do. It was designed to put the hardships of Americans on the backs of undocumented immigrants, and that's just not true.
I thought it was interesting when he was talking about immigration, though, because he laid out his plan, this 4-point plan. And we talked about that on a couple shows ago as well, about his immigration reform proposal to Democrats. Like, hey, we're going to create a pathway to 1.8 million undocumented immigrants, these young people that came to the country through no fault of their own. We're going to protect them. We're going to give them a pathway to citizenship. In about 10 to 12 years it's going to take, even though they've already been living here for years, decades.
The dude that was here, what's the dude? Was that Polish dude?
Yeah, that's
that was here for 40-something years.
Exactly.
He would have to apply in the same way, because obviously.
But he might not. He might be too old.
He might be too.
Yeah,
that is right, because there's an age limit on that.
Yeah, there's an age limit on who is going to actually protect. But anyway, he was touting this as something that Congress needs to do right now. The first part of that plan was the pathway to citizenship. And I just thought it was interesting because in the background, you could see VP Mike Pence, and you can see the Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan, right? So the first part of that plan, when he's talking about the pathway to citizenship, you don't see them clapping. Now, you heard the members in the audience. You heard, you heard something. It wasn't a rousing ovation or anything like that.
You mean like the other standing ovation?
Oh, yeah. No, it wasn't a standing ovation or anything like that. But then when he got to the other points of his plan, talking about ending the draft, the draft lottery, the visa lottery program,
going to a merit-based
program, stuff like that. Oh, you saw Paul Ryan clapping like this. Oh, yeah, I can support that. So it's just interesting, because what Trump is asking Republicans to do is support this initiative in an election year. It's 2018. The midterms are coming. There are many seats up for grabs in Congress, and he's asking Republican members to support a pathway to citizenship, something that they have always told. Which is a
wedge issue.
Yeah, they've always told their constituents, I'm never going to be supportive of something like that.
And you kind of got the feel that that's what Republicans that were offering commentary after the State of the Union, like Rick Santorum. Right. Oh boy, he was like him and Van Jones were going at it
on CNN. Yeah,
and then Santorum was basically saying like, "That's amnesty." He was crying, like he was crying. That is amnesty. That's what amnesty. A pathway to citizenship is amnesty. Boy, he was crying.
Exactly.
He was like,
so yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's 2018. What's the likelihood that you're gonna have Republican members of Congress actually have, you know, that much, be that brave, I guess,
and honestly,
to take on this issue?
The funny fact is, it's only like amnesty for like 10%. Of the undocumented individuals here. Yes. So they don't even want to budge on 10%. Because I think the estimate is a little low. They say 11 to 12 million.
Yeah, 11 to 12, something like that.
And he wants a pathway to citizenship for 1.8. I think it's like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go up to 15%.
Yeah.
You know, they don't even want to say that's not even a compromise for them. That means they don't want anything.
No pathway to citizenship.
They don't want pathway to citizenship. So they really don't want to solve this crisis at all.
You know, one thing that stood out to me though when Trump was talking about this pathway to citizenship, he was talking about what was going to have to be done, like for them to actually qualify for citizenship. He said something about like their personal character. Who's going to be the judge of that? Who's going to be judging that? Like they
well. Obviously, those in the government that possess a certain level of integrity operate with personal responsibility, fiscal responsibility.
Right.
Those politicians, that side of the aisle, they're going to be making the decision. And I trust that they will judge the character of these undocumented immigrants honestly. I trust
objectively,
that. Objectively and fairly.
So
kind of like how they're doing now.
So really, 1.8 million undocumented immigrants. It'll be something like 20 that get citizenship. That might be high.
I know that might be high because they don't want any. They don't want any citizenship. Man. So yes, if again, they're constantly trying to kick this can down the road and make it about something that it is not. If it was truly about character, if it was truly about that, then every person that is benefiting from the deferred action plan for childhood arrivals, if that was the case, then all of them would be instantly eligible because they have to maintain certain characteristics to be eligible or to stay eligible to be on that program.
Not only would they be instantly qualified for citizenship, not wait 10 to 12 years, but President Trump
probably more qualified than me.
But another thing, President Trump wouldn't have stripped away their protection in the first place. And Congress wouldn't be dragging their heels if he did.
He didn't review their character?
Oh, no.
Before he did that?
No, he didn't. He just stripped it.
Oh. Yeah. So it's not about the character or merit.
Nah.
But how come we see that? And how come a lot of people that are watching this show see that? But a lot of Americans don't. Certain Americans. I don't know, man. I think one thing that I'm not surprised that he brought up, but I still feel like, how dare you? He brought up the opioid crisis. Oh,
like, damn, are you serious? You brought that up?
And in addition to that, he highlighted this random white couple.
Yeah.
It's like, look at these white people. Look at this lovely random white couple.
Yeah, it was an officer and his wife.
Look at they adopted a crack baby. Look at them. Look at what they're doing about the opioid crisis. He went to somebody who was addicted to opioids and pleaded with them.
So he had came across her. She was living homeless. She was a homeless person living with her. I don't know if it was her husband or just her partner, and they were living homeless, and she was about to shoot up heroin or something like that, and he came across her, and he, I talked to her a little bit.
Convinced her?
Yeah, I talked a little bit, and then, long story short, he ended up, or him and his wife ended up adopting their baby. Now, that's a lovely story. That's a lovely story. It's a very humane thing.
But how the heck does that have to do... What the heck does that have to do with ending the opioid crisis?
Nothing.
We just gotta go just... I'm seriously. How is that gonna work? Like, I'm just gonna go randomly just find out who's addicted to opioids or any kind of drugs or whatever, and just knock on the door of crackheads and be like, "Yo, let's talk this out. Your life means something.
Yeah.
And I value you." That's gonna stop them.
Right.
From either doing their drugs or reform their life or go on a pathway to do that. That's not only going to cause them to do that, it's going to cause them to give their baby to me. That's how we stop this thing.
But you know what? As ridiculous as the picture that we're even painting right here, he didn't even address the mother. What happened to the mother?
Nope.
Because if you're actually addressing the opioid epidemic, then wouldn't you talk about what's going to happen with this mother now? Because the baby's going to be taken care of and provided. And that's great. But the actual person that was addicted, like, that was out of your speech. You didn't say anything about her anymore.
So what does that tell you? It tells us the same thing, that when I guess the funds to help with addictions were reduced by 95% by his administration.
Yep.
There's a reason why he didn't mention the woman.
Yeah.
Because it didn't matter to him. He just wanted to use that couple as some sort of prop.
Yep.
Just like the thing he did with the random business owner from the random state that they had
the best year that they had in 2017.
Didn't he mention something about the tax bill?
That was kind of connected to the tax bill. Yeah.
And
and in the future they're going to hire more people because of this tax reform legislation they passed. Sorry, I mean...
Specifically, not just people.
Yeah.
But did you see who...
Oh, yeah, they brought a black person.
Look at the black guy they hooked up with a job. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, man.
But, like, a question like, wait a second. Like, I just don't understand how somehow he is, I guess, linking himself to this random couple or this random business owner from this random state, them having the best year. How does that have to do with him?
I don't know, man. It's a good story that he wants to promote.
And obviously, okay, and check this out. Like, and if they did have the best year, and from that best year they were able to hire and train and expand, then it was from them having a good year. Yeah. And nothing about the recent tax bill that passed.
Yeah, I know. He also talked about how there were corporations creating new factories, building new buildings.
Expanding.
That happens all the time, though. It's not like every business in America is just floundering out there and like they're on the edge of just closing business, closing the doors, everybody being fired.
So factories and businesses open all the time, right?
Yeah, there are. Man, to say there are several, there are many successful businesses in America that are on the up. They're on the rise, and they're consistently hiring new people.
All the time.
All the time. But it's because of Trump. It's because of Trump. We have to remember that. It's because of Trump. But another thing about the opioid thing, why I think it was so crazy that like I said, I don't think it's crazy he mentioned it, but the audacity of him to actually mention it is because we're just coming off of that whole Taylor Weymouth deal where the 24-year-old that was actually the deputy chief of staff of the Office of National Drug Control Policy, the guy that had absolutely no experience. He had no business being in that office as well. I mean, like, he had no experience in drug control policy.
So basically,
whatsoever.
There was somebody who was like unqualified,
very unqualified
in that position.
Yes.
So,
and then he I guess he might be already out because at the end of January, he stepped down.
They gave him. They kind of put him in a more administrative position because he wasn't qualified.
Yeah, because it was unearthed by a Washington Post investigation.
And then that position, he probably was like, "Damn, I can't do this either. I can't even do the work that's required of me in this administrative position." Man. So like he's stepping down.
Look, man, like we said, that's all I got on his speech. It was, like I said, it was very empty to me.
Would you say yesterday it was just full of platitudes?
Yeah, man, just empty platitudes that don't really mean anything. Like, if this was one thing that it did for his supporters, though, because a lot of times you hear him, or you see his words on Twitter. That's how he communicates with his followers, his supporters. So this gave them the opportunity to actually see him on a large scale with a big microphone and give them everything they need to support him even further, because all they have to do is just listen to his words. They don't have to dive into any information. They don't have to see how accurate the information he was providing was. They just say, "Hey, this was a good speech."
It doesn't matter.
Keep going,
and it doesn't matter how vague any of it was.
Gosh, it was so
it's kind of
vague.
like that part. There was like towards the end, because I don't think every network did this. But as he was talking, there was like a guide.
Yes.
On the
thing was on ABC.
On ABC on the sidebar,
yeah.
There was a guide that kind of like went through everything.
Right.
Like it highlighted everything he was
talking
talking
points
as he was going through his speech.
Right.
There was one towards the end that just said unity. And he talked about, like, no matter, the background, the color, the creed, whatever, paraphrasing, of any American, we're going to keep all Americans safe, no matter how they look and no matter what race they are. I was like, what does that even mean?
Yeah, like you said, it empty, man. No specifics, nothing on policy. Just
I didn't expect that.
Just trying to be a feel good speech, man.
I didn't expect that. I just don't see. The thing is, I think with Trump, you definitely would have to keep it simple.
Oh yeah,
he is not the type that you want to kind of throw off. Right. You just keep it simple, no ad lib, no going into details, just like spit a couple bars,
right,
and then move on to the next subject.
Mm-hmm. So let's get into a couple of the responses, right? Response speeches. So, first of all, the official Democratic Party response to the State of the Union address was made by Joseph Kennedy III, who is the grandson of Bobby Kennedy, RFK. And we talked about that before he actually went on Tuesday. We talked about a little bit about who this guy was, a little bit of background on who he is. The speech, I'll say for me, it started out kind of like I wasn't really feeling him. Like I've seen him speak a few times before. Everybody's seen videos of him talking. There's some that have gone viral. This speech right here, like I said at the beginning, it really wasn't doing anything for me because he didn't really seem to be authentic. It just seemed like it was just fake. Now, towards the middle and then towards the end of the speech, I think he got a lot better. He got very passionate. As a whole, I think it was a good speech. Just on
the surface,
just on the surface, I think it ended up being a well-rounded, good speech, and something that, like, for what Trump wanted to accomplish, like being a healing or a unified speech, a unity speech. I think Joe Kennedy's speech was more so, kind of formatted in that kind of way.
He even spoke Spanish.
The dude spoke Spanish. He even said Black Lives Matter. The dude spoke Spanish and said Black Lives Matter. So, of course, he got some support just from that.
Actually, I would have respected him more, and I would have thought it was much more funny if he said, like, Ginger Lives Matter. Ginger Lives Matter. But great, he did say Black Lives Matter.
Yeah, he did say Black Lives Matter.
But there was a couple of things that seemed to, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, see? You already know where I'm going.
Yeah.
There was a couple of things that just seemed he didn't talk about.
Well, there were a lot of things he didn't talk about.
Two main things for me. And probably a couple of things for you. That was marijuana.
Oh!
Didn't mention that at all.
No, he did not.
Didn't mention that at all. And healthcare.
Oh, Well, okay.
He kind of mentioned
it because he talked about the opioid epidemic as well. And he said something like how we need a healthcare system that is designed to specifically focus on the treatment.
Yeah, but
of
that
people
was
that are addicted to these opioids.
It was kind of like in that pocket.
Oh yeah, that's
he
it.
did in that pocket alone. But I was like, okay, why don't you expand on healthcare, dog?
Yeah.
Why don't you expand on that?
Yeah, nothing about single payer. Nothing about universal healthcare, nothing like that. And another thing about the opioid thing, like it's great that he wants a healthcare system that specifically targets the treatment of these addiction problems.
But Will. Let's see. What would be a good counter agent to targeting the opioid crisis in regards to, let's say, pharmaceuticals?
Well, you said it right there.
Oh, damn, my bad.
You said it right there.
My answer's
to actually target the pharmaceutical industry and target, like, you know, maybe these companies that encourage their doctors to overprescribe medication without telling the patients that it's very addictive. So they get addicted to these opioids, and that is a gateway. Like a lot of these drugs, these prescription drugs, are a gateway to heroin. Because they, you know, some of these drugs with heroin, they provide pretty much the same effects. But he didn't say anything about that. He didn't say anything about that.
And also, wouldn't kind of presenting legislation that would lower the price of drugs help out too?
That might, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That sure might. I don't remember him saying anything about that either.
But I think that was strategic. See, he's not going to say anything that can get him caught up later. Obviously, he's not going to say anything that he may have, let's say, a conflict of, I wouldn't say a conflict of belief, but a conflict in approach about. You know what I'm saying? He's not going to bring up anything that somebody can throw back at him.
Right.
He wasn't going to do that. That, to me, that was purposeful.
I mean, maybe this has something to do with money he takes from the pharmaceutical industry,
or like
maybe
that trust.
Oh yeah,
that blind trust.
Yeah, maybe
it's that blind trust.
So I know a lot of people are kind of labeling this guy as a rising star in the Democratic Party, and he may well be for them. You know, for Democrats, he very well may be. He might end up being the front runner in 2020. We don't know, but. What we know is that he's against marijuana. He's against recreational use and medicinal use, right?
Yeah. No, not only that, he was for people who are using it.
Yes.
He was medicinally to be arrested.
Yes. Okay. So also, doesn't seem like he's supportive of single payer. Doesn't seem like it at all. His record on the issue of protecting Americans against illegal spying from our own country, from the NSA, is very questionable. Very questionable, because his 2013 vote is nothing like his 2017 vote on that issue. So, yeah, I'm not feeling Joe Kennedy.
See, Dominic got me laughing. I knew I shouldn't have looked at the doggone chat on Facebook. And he said it was hard to follow him when I couldn't stop looking at that drool.
Yeah, you know.
And I was like, but see, you know,
it was there.
I see, I like
it had us talking a little bit like, damn, is that the light or like?
Yeah, I was like, what is that? And I was thinking, I was like, I don't know what I said. I said something to the effect of like he went overboard on the Carmex.
Yeah, man.
He used the whole can of Carmex
because he was going to be talking a lot. You know,
and you know what? Maybe he was trying to avoid like a Marco Rubio situation.
I know, it just went overboard.
Yeah,
but hey, you know. But you know what? One thing that we didn't mention that he said. He said,
"Oh man, oh
this
God.
Dude, all right."
Don't.
He said,
"Now you're gonna start another conversation."
That Russia is knee deep in our democracy.
Not dipping their toes.
Not a toe. Not a big toe.
Not testing the water.
No. Knee deep in it. Wow. Really? Say it ain't so, Joe. Say it ain't so, man. Knee deep. Okay. All right. Well,
and he did not really explain.
No, he didn't.
How?
No, that was pretty much the heart of that comment. I mean, he didn't go any
Russia
further.
Knee deep in our democracy. I'm like,
how, Joe? How?
Putin over here sponsoring legislation?
So yeah, I wasn't happy about hearing that. Yeah,
and he had to drop that in right towards the end.
Yeah, man.
I'm like, oh man. I'm like, why'd you go ahead? Why'd you do that?
But see, that was just. I mean, that was purposeful as well.
He was appealing to party leadership.
Yeah.
He was appealing to party leadership
and Democrats that believe that Hillary Clinton was beaten because of
Hillary
Russia.
Clinton was the person who was kneecapped.
Yes,
to them. You're so stupid.
Oh my gosh, man.
Yeah, she got,
but yeah, so that was Joe Kennedy. Like I said, on the surface, I think it was a good speech. Just on his words alone, yeah, it was unifying. Yeah, it was uplifting.
Bilingual.
Yeah, bilingual. Black Lives Matter. All of that. But yeah, in substance, like actually who we know this guy to be. Sorry, Joe, you didn't get there for me. Sorry.
No, Joe.
No.
No.
Now, Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders as well. He had a rebuttal speech, a response to Trump's State of the Union. And I saw most of it. And he was just outlining a lot of different things, like why Trump didn't talk about this. Why didn't, Trump talk about that? And one thing that he said that I see a lot of people having a problem with. Yeah. This was his statement. He said, how can Trump not talk about the reality that Russia, through cyber warfare, interfered in our election in 2016, is interfering in democratic elections all over the world, and according to his own CIA director, will likely interfere in the 2018 midterm elections?
I was disappointed.
Yes, I think we both were with that,
because it's essentially a question that could answer itself. Like, why would Trump speak about that, even if it was true? Let's just say Russiagate, in that context, the hacking context, Russiagate was true. Let's just say that was true. Which, to me, cyber warfare is not anything new. Like, it's not that I don't care if Russia was trying to gain access to servers, because we do that too, or gain access to networks they're not supposed to. I would not be surprised if they're attempting to do that. Now, whether they did that in this election, I doubt it, but I don't think it's something that Trump would actually address in a State of the Union, because that would undermine his own presidency. That's why I think it's kind of a false question to pose to direct towards Trump as to why he didn't talk about it, because talking about it would be out of character, and it would almost like it would just taint his own presidency. So that why would he talk about that? And
another thing on the cyber warfare aspect, like cyber warfare is a broad word. It's a very broad word. Now, did Russia engage in cyber warfare? You could say that, because were they paying for ads? Like were they like trying to spread ads in America to kind of influence the outcome, like to try to influence people's minds about Hillary Clinton or whatever?
Probably.
Yeah, it looks like they were. Yeah, on Facebook, Twitter. Yeah, it looks like they were doing that.
That sure as hell ain't hacking, though.
That sure as hell ain't hacking. So yeah, you can say that Russia engaged in cyber warfare, but come on. It's like you're saying that they are responsible for Trump.
Exactly.
Because of that.
This like that kind of cyber warfare. I don't even like calling it warfare.
Yeah, I know.
It's like cyber games.
Yeah.
It's G-rated cyber warfare.
It's very G-rated.
It's like Sesame Street rated.
Yeah, it's not illegal. I mean, I mean, they're paying for ads.
They're paying
to influence. Now, yeah, you can say that. Yeah, we want to put a stop to it. You could. Yeah, okay. I could understand how government officials, members of Congress, would be uncomfortable with another state trying to influence the people of America in an election year.
You say another country would have a problem. Or we would have a problem with another country trying to influence our politics and our elections.
Right.
Okay. We would have a problem.
We would have a problem with that.
I think we would have a problem with if another country tried to influence our elections.
Are you saying something?
No, absolutely not. I'm not saying anything. Not only that, in the most I wouldn't say cartoonish ways, but almost like, and I'm not gonna say innocent, but like the most mildest.
Yeah, like you said, G-rated way.
In the mildest way, we're getting bent out of shape because Russia was trying to influence our election in the mildest way.
Right. So, like I said, some people, you know, didn't like that from Bernie Sanders, and we agree. We didn't like hearing that as well because it sounds like nonsense. But some are, you know, saying, oh, they can't support him after that, stuff like that, and because it's like he's holding Democrats' water. You know, he's trying to do the bidding of this corrupt party and trying to spread this whole Russia Gate narrative. And look, I get it. That alone, though, isn't gonna get me to the place where it's like, oh man, forget damn Bernie Sanders.
Well,
it's like, yeah, I'm writing this mug off, and
that's just you.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, obviously that's me too, but
yeah.
That's not what
I think we both know why he's doing it.
I think,
you know,
unfortunately, that's not what, like, how it's being received amongst a lot of progressives. That,
yeah,
like, I guess some that I'll follow, they pretty much said that's this is a done deal.
Yeah, like that was it. Like that was the last straw.
That was the last straw.
Yeah, I'm not.
That means it's like I'm not going to vote for him. I'm like, well then, who are you? Who are you going to vote for?
True. Especially, yeah, if Bernie runs and this is it for you, who the hell would you vote for?
I was like, that's a deal breaker?
Yeah.
For real. See, I can't roll with that, man.
Nah,
I can't roll with that.
Nah. But yeah, so that's the end of our assessment for the State of the Union activities. We're in the same place we were before it. I mean, nothing has changed.
The exact.
Yeah. So
same place.
So yeah, we'll see what 2018 brings. But yeah, that like I said, that one comment Trump made, I promise you, I'm gonna keep an eye on that. Reducing the price of prescription drugs. He said it's one of the great priorities of 2018. We will damn
hold him to that.
Oh, damn straight. He wanted to put emphasis on that. All right. Okay, let's go. But all right, so we're gonna continue the rest of the show on YouTube, Facebook. Thank you for joining us. We have the link in the description box, so if you just click it, you'll be taken to the rest of the show. So we'll see you over there.
What's the next story we're gonna cover, man?
Next story we're gonna cover is some more
memo.
Some more memo. Yeah, you know, the release of the memo. You know, what the FBI, what the DOJ has said about it, what Trump has been reported to say about it. So yeah, we'll spend a few minutes on that. So come join us on YouTube, and like I said, you'll get the rest of the show. All right, so we'll see you over there. All right. Let me close this out. All right, so let's get to that. All right, so it's being reported that President Trump is telling his associates that this memo, this hashtag release the memo, this 4-page memo that was compiled by Nunes, who sits on the House Intelligence Committee, Republican, of course.
Thank you for mentioning that.
Yeah, I had to put the Republican in there. It's being reported that Trump is telling his associates that releasing the memo will help discredit the Russia investigation, the investigation that Robert Mueller is heading.
Wait a second. Who said this?
It says that President Trump said this. He's telling some of his associates that it will discredit the Russia investigation.
What didn't... I thought he said that it was important that the memo get released. I thought at one point he said that, right?
Yeah. Well, he wants it released.
He wants it released.
He wants it released, and with its release, he thinks it will discredit the Russia investigation.
Discredit the Russia. So you're saying he doesn't want the Russia investigation? Well, investigation. People assume it's just Russia, but it's a comprehensive investigation.
That's very true.
So is he saying that it's going to compromise an investigation that might find some things he did illegally?
I don't think he put it like that.
Oh,
I don't think he put it like that.
Oh, okay. Let me backtrack because I'm trying to figure out what he means by compromise the investigation, because it doesn't make sense. Maybe he means it will like compromise the attempt to compromise the investigation.
That might be true.
Releasing the memo will compromise the attempt. To compromise the investigation.
That could be it right there. Yeah. That could be it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It seems like he wants this investigation shut down.
No.
That's what it seems like. And
because he wanted to fire Mueller in, what was it? Last year?
That's correct. That's correct. And you Hannity. Hannity got caught up.
Well, I mean, it looked like I've been talking to my sources, and it looked like it was true.
Yeah.
But
on the same show, he started out by saying this is garbage. Trump didn't want to fire Mueller. Nobody is confirming that. And then at the end of his show, he's like,
turns out that he did. But so what? Now look at this car crash. Shocking.
Oh my gosh, man. Hilarious, man. Hilarious. But so the DOJ, they have released a statement saying that releasing the memo would be, quote, extraordinarily reckless.
The who?
The DOJ.
The DOJ. You mean Jeff Sessions?
Yes, headed by Jeff Sessions, who's a Republican.
The deputy attorney general is Rod Rosenstein, who was nominated by Donald Trump. And he's worked under Bush and Obama.
And Rosenstein was the one that appointed Mueller.
Yes. Rosenstein is a Republican.
Yeah.
So okay, we got Jeff Sessions. We got Rob Rosenstein. Even the person under Jeff Sessions, I forgot his name. He's also a Republican. We got Mueller, who's also a Republican. Got Ray, who's the director of the FBI.
So Christopher Wray. The FBI also released a statement saying that, quote, we have grave concerns about material omissions of fact that fundamentally impact the memo's accuracy.
That's accurate.
I had to put some emphasis on that. Accuracy.
That sounds like some Charles Barkley.
So
the Charles Barkley-in language. So
basically, they're saying that this 4-page memo is not accurate because, again, when we talked about this before, these FISA warrants that are obtained, they're usually based on a lot of information, and usually these documents are like over 100 pages long. So to try to condense it into 4 pages,
you're using such a generous word. Condense? Don't you mean cherry pick? You're being generous. You mean cherry pick? That's what you mean.
That's what I mean. Yeah. So again, both the DOJ, headed by a Republican that Trump nominated, and the FBI, headed by a Republican that Trump nominated, both of them are saying like this is stupid. This memo is completely inaccurate and it's completely not unobjective.
And if you just release 4 pages of it, you will severely kneecap this investigation.
No doubt.
Well, I guess to the public, like public appearances.
Yep.
And it will kind of like take away context of the warrants that were issued.
No doubt. Now on I believe this was on Thursday. On Thursday earlier today, Fran Townsend, who's a national security analyst, he told CBS this morning that Christopher Wray, the FBI director,
appointed by Trump. We gotta keep saying that.
Yeah, we gotta keep saying that. The man appointed by Trump to be the FBI director, Christopher Wray, he's prepared to issue a rebuttal if this memo is in fact released.
Ooh.
Now understand what that might mean. What might that mean, Mike? Why could this be bad news?
That puts Nunes, the chair of the House Intelligence Committee, as well as the whole committee, in a very interesting position. Again, I'm using a very I'll say interesting.
Interesting, yeah.
I'm just using a very, I guess, a G-rated word, but it pretty much backs them into a corner,
right?
Because they've kind of hyped up this memo and presented it as some sort of like this is not just the smoking. This is the smoking gun,
bigger than Watergate.
Bigger than Watergate.
Yeah.
It's hyping this thing up. So what is either going to happen is they release the memo, right? Right? They can release the memo, and it's pretty much like something that's like doesn't have any value at all,
right?
Or they can release it, and then Ray comes back with his rebuttal and drops his own, and then they'll look like even more idiots. So they don't release this memo that they said was like on Watergate level.
Yes.
They look dumb because they hyped it up,
and they look like they're hiding something.
Like I say. So if they don't release it, it looks bad because they hyped it up. But if they do release it, then Christopher Wray comes out with his rebuttal,
and it provides more context.
They're looking like they pretty much told a blatant lie. So they're screwed either way.
Also, it's been reported too that several members of Congress are worried that if this memo does come out, that Christopher Wray might resign from the FBI as well. Christopher
Wray, who was appointed by Donald Trump.
That's correct.
You know what? It just came to me, man. I just figured it all out. Obama and Hillary's deep state. Their deep state got to Christopher Wray and Rob Rosenstein.
See, gotta go to the water.
No, I think so, man.
Look, and you know what? This is what I have a problem with. Regular people. I have a problem with regular people. Because regular people are saying, release the memo, right? Hashtag release the memo. Now, there's all kind of evidence, and I mean, all kind of statements from the FBI and the DOJ saying that this is without proper context. You cannot just release a 4-page memo and it's going to provide the proper context, right? So what people are saying is like, okay, we'll just release everything. Hold on.
Yes, we have actually seen people and been talking to people who have said that.
Release everything?
Everything.
You're talking about releasing all classified information? Like you're an FBI agent, or you work for the DOJ or something like that?
Yo, there are so many problems to that. There's too many to list. Not just you're basically compromising ongoing investigation.
Not an investigation that has already closed and has been wrapped up. An ongoing investigation. You want all the details released?
And how long did like Watergate take? 1 or 2 years? So this might go on for I guess the duration of Trump's first term. I mean, I'm just assuming he might get a second, but if he could get a second, possibly. But I'm just saying, like this term right here, this term we're in right now, it could go the duration of this term.
Man, people are feeling themselves a little bit too much. You remember back, the
Las Vegas.
The Las Vegas.
I knew that's where you were going.
The tragedy, right? And you remember how people were like, hey, well, hold on, we don't have all the facts. Like, why aren't they giving us all the facts? It had been like
12 hours.
It's been like 12 hours, man.
Actually, I've seen people like 8 hours.
Yeah, it was like the next morning. People were like, "Oh, we still don't have the facts. We still don't. They're withholding evidence. They're like, you aren't an investigator. You're like, what?
Yes,
are you,
they are.
Why are you? Why are you expecting this information?
They are remote internet investigators.
Crime scene investigators.
Remote internet crime scene investigators.
And in this case,
the Reese's.
And in this case, with this whole FISA argument, this whole Russia and
they want to see
the memo.
They don't want
to see the 4 pages.
They want to see everything.
They want everything.
They want everything.
Like, you should be privy to classified information. Man,
they want the
feeling yourself.
They want the interviews. They want the targets.
Ooh, wow.
They want the names of the agents. They want everything.
Wow.
They want information on who was questioned, what questions those were, with the answers to those questions.
So classified information is pointless.
Classified information is classified.
But what people are saying is that it shouldn't be classified. It holds no value. It should be accessible to everybody.
People are dumb.
Oh man! All right. Like I said, we'll see what happens if Trump actually releases it. It hadn't been happening. It hasn't happened yet. So we'll see.
It's gonna be funny.
I think it's gonna be very funny.
Oh, it's gonna be so funny.
Oh, I think it's gonna be very funny.
Because there's only two ways it can go. There's only two ways this thing can go. They don't release it, they look like fools, and they do release it, they look like fools.
So you saying they're gonna look like fools?
Actually, there's only one outcome. Two pathways.
Two different ways.
Two pathways to the same outcome.
Like, we're gonna meet right here. All right. So also, this is one thing that we haven't talked about. So back in August of 2017, the United States Senate approved sanctions on Russia in a vote that was 98-2. They approved sanctions against Russia, and Trump signed it. Now, it said that Trump kind of, he didn't want to, but he ended up doing it. But he signed what's called the Countering America's Adversaries Through Sanctions Act, or CAA-TSA, the Katska or Katska, or whatever. And this was, a penalty for election meddling. Now, I do have to highlight, though, one of the two senators that voted against it was Bernie Sanders.
So he voted against it?
He voted against it. So keep that in mind.
If you're going to criticize him about bringing
he said these words that, on Tuesday night talking about cyber warfare in Russia, but he didn't approve these sanctions. Just keep that in mind.
So you're saying if really what Bernie Sanders had said had actual teeth, he would have voted differently on this, and so the vote matters more.
I think the vote matters a lot more.
All right.
But anyway, so so it was 98-2. The legislation required the Trump administration to publish a list of Russian oligarchs that were doing business with Russian defense and intelligence entities and blacklisted entities, and impose sanctions on them as well. So the Trump administration had a deadline to get this done, and they ended up publishing this list. It was a list of, I believe, 210 individuals and businesses. I think it was 114 Russian leaders and 96 oligarchs. But what they didn't do was impose sanctions. They did not impose the sanctions. And a State Department official said, quote, sanctions on specific entities and individuals will not need to be imposed because the legislation is, in fact, serving as a deterrent. Heather Neuart, she's the State Department spokeswoman. She said that since the enactment of the Katska legislation, we estimate that foreign governments have abandoned plans or announced purchases of several $1 billion in Russian defense acquisitions. So they're saying that
it's just going to scare these oligarchs away from doing what they've always done.
Yes.
I wish they put together a list of, it's the same list over here. You know what I'm saying? I wish they put together a similar list
of U.S. oligarchs. That are guilty of election meddling,
extortion.
I said election meddling. Forget that. That is way
election rigging.
Yeah, that is way too weak.
Election rigging, gerrymandering,
no doubt.
Extortion, legalized robbery.
That's right. No list here.
I would love to see that list.
I would love to see that. Publicize that list. Yeah. That would be pretty consequential, I think. But not gonna do that. But anyway, it's just interesting that Trump and his administration would fail to impose the sanctions. This is Russia you're talking about. Why, if election meddling is actually a serious thing, why? This doesn't have anything to do with what happened in 2016. You're a president, right? Even if you say that, Russia didn't help you, it seems like the intelligence community is unified in their position that Russia was guilty of election meddling, and the senators as well, bipartisan senators, are in unison.
Again, this is not us saying that
No,
it's
no,
true.
no, 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 no. It's not us.
It's just saying, we're just saying that you would think that Trump, who has no knowledge of any of this stuff, as far as the inner workings of how the intelligence agencies work and foreign policy, you would think that he would defer to them, right?
Yeah, but he failed to impose the sanctions because, like the State Department is saying, just the threat is doing all that we need to be done. Now, there's another country. There's another country where you know, we can talk about sanctions. We talk about sanctions on sanctions on sanctions on sanctions.
Is it 4 letters? Is that what you're talking about?
What are you talking about?
Another country has sanctions.
Yeah, North Korea.
Not just North Korea. There's another country that we're supposed to have a deal with, a nuclear deal.
Oh,
with.
you talking about Iran?
Yeah.
Yeah, Iran as well. Yeah.
So we got Iran
And North Korea.
North Korea.
Yeah.
And so if the sanctions on Russia, or the threat of sanctions on Russia, is enough for them, why wouldn't it be for Iran and North Korea?
Why wouldn't it be? Why is Trump, especially with North Korea, why is Trump always so quick, so ready to poke out his chest? Poke it out and be like, sanctions on sanctions on sanctions on sanctions.
So
on North Korea all the time. Seems like that's all that he does. Sanctions on sanctions on sanctions. But why not Russia?
Why not a bigger country? Yeah. Why not a bigger country? Not only sanctions. Now we're talking about both Iran and North Korea. There's constant rhetoric where he's threatening that, you know, we go to war with them, not just from him, but from his ambassador,
no doubt,
and Nikki Haley.
But and a lot of people view sanctions as an act of war. A lot of people view that as an act of war.
Exactly.
Why are you so ready to impose sanctions on North Korea but not Russia?
That's just a question we're putting out there. We don't know that. We don't know. But there's something there.
There's something there.
Maybe some business interests, possibly.
Something.
Not necessarily saying it had anything to do with the election.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the intelligence agencies and Democrats are saying, but there's maybe another narrative that people maybe don't want to explore. And we already know he has, you know, businesses and trademarks all over the world. And he doesn't want to affect that. So he might have some business interests. You know what I'm saying? Maybe
Mueller might uncover something.
I'm pretty sure Mueller is turning over every damn rock there is to turn over. You don't hear nothing from him.
No.
You don't hear nothing from him.
Because the investigation is ongoing.
You know, the same thing is not happening like when Hillary Clinton was under investigation. Like, there was always, like, Comey was always talking about stuff.
That's true.
He was always, like, making statements to the media. You know what I'm saying? It's not happening.
Yeah, Mueller ain't, no. Closed
tight-lipped.
Yeah.
He's tight-lipped.
In Texas, there is a Republican Texas state representative named Tony Tinderholt. And he is hoping to criminalize abortion. Yes, criminalize abortion. Recently, Tinderholt has introduced House Bill 948, also referred to as the Abolition of Abortion Act. No, the Abolition of Abortion in Texas Act. And it would subject women who have abortions and their doctors who perform these abortions to charges of murder. Murder charges if you have an abortion and for the doctor that performs said abortion.
What about a person who, like, what if they have to, you know, if somebody pays for it, would they be charged too? If someone
like an accomplice, maybe.
Yeah, as an accomplice.
I don't know. That's a good question. That's a very good question. I don't know. In an interview with the Texas Observer, Tenderholt said, quote, "Right now it's real easy. Right now they don't make it important to be personally responsible because they know that they have a backup of, oh, I can just go get an abortion. Now we both know that consenting adults don't always think smartly sometimes, but consenting adults need to also consider the repercussions of the sexual relationship that they're going to have, which is a child." End quote.
It just seems like they seem to have this idea that there are millions of women lining up outside of clinics across America like nightclubs. Itching, just itching to get a chance to have one of these like highly sought after abortions. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like oh, I got a baby. Me, I go right down the street. Yeah, man. It's not no thing. I don't even have to think about it, man. Like it doesn't cost a lot of money. One, it doesn't cost a lot of money. Two, it's such a very simple procedure. And three, it has no mental effect or emotional effect on me whatsoever as well.
It's like, you know, like popping a piece of candy in my mouth.
Yeah, it's nothing. I don't even think about it afterwards. No recovery, nothing.
But I don't know. It's just funny how, like, these are the same type of men that seek to deny women an opportunity to practice personal responsibility by restricting access to healthcare and contraception.
Yeah.
Like, how you gonna talk about personal responsibility when you're constantly taking away their ability to practice it?
I don't know. If this bill were to pass the Texas legislature, there would be no exceptions for rape, no exceptions for incest, no exceptions for fetal abnormalities. The only exception would be to protect the life of the mother if the life of the mother was jeopardized. So that, you know, little kid that, you know, has been raped by her father or her uncle or whatever and got pregnant, sorry, that child is in the image of God. This is what he said too. That child is in the image of God. Why would you want to end that?
You know what? That's true. I just want to. It's within this subject matter, so I guess it's fine to highlight this comment. It says this is why it is nice to see more women running for office. That's true. That's definitely true, because it just seems as if like the particular men that are in power now don't seem to have like any regard for the rights of women.
Like, man, look, and we've talked about abortion a number of times on this show, and before we even were doing the live show and making videos, we talked about an abortion, and I don't think there's anybody reasonable out there that wouldn't like abortion numbers to go down. I don't think there's anybody reasonable that would not like to see us have less abortions in this country. But people like this guy, this Republican Tenderholt, see, he wants to attack the problem not at the root. He doesn't want to attack the problem at the root. He just wants to punish abortions. So he doesn't want to do anything about poverty. Yeah. He doesn't want to do anything about, like you said, access to healthcare, access to contraceptions. He probably is in favor of abstinence-only education and not comprehensive sexual education. So there are a lot of different things that we can do as a country to get those numbers down. And I could say this too, to maybe as a country stop being prude about sex, actually teach our young people about sex and how to be safe. Like I said, about contraception and stuff like that too, because young people are going to have sex. They are going to have sex. So education is a big key in this. Access to healthcare.
Yeah, it creates the opposite effect. Like, I think on the surface, we always I guess I always grew up hearing that we live in an over-sexualized society, when actually that's not true.
Not true.
It's not true. We live in a sexually repressed society. The reason why it has to appear in certain ways, like we always say, oh, the music is so sexualized, Or like, why did that commercial have so much sexual innuendo? Or why does sex appear in this? And why is there these like little symbols that like resemble something having to do with sex? Right. I was like, that's because we repress it, so it has to come out in those ways.
Yes. So and when you see examples of that, you're put off by it.
Put off by it.
Yeah, you're offended by stuff like that. When a lot of these examples that you're offended by, you probably shouldn't be.
Yeah. You know? It's one of those things that we perceive the opposite of what it really is. But like when talking about this subject, I think like people focus on a couple of costs, and that's like the cost of progress and the cost of rights. But with this particular case, it has the potential to result in a lawsuit. Oh yeah, it does. It does have a potential to result in a lawsuit. So that could cost the taxpayers. In this particular issue, I think that was estimated could cost taxpayers $4.5 million. The cost of sexism, dog.
No doubt, man.
The cost of sexism. So this is not just about calling out, men that I guess kind of promote this cycle of misogyny. Yeah. It's not just about that, calling these mugs out. It's actually like hurting the economy. You're hurting the taxpayer.
You're hurting regular people, man. You're hurting communities because you're spending money on some nonsense, really, on discriminating, really, just discriminating against other people.
It's an investment, like we always say. There's always some sort of cost, and they're willing to cost the taxpayer money, taxpayers money, to like continue oppressing people. No different than police brutality. They're willing to shell out those payments. Yeah,
it's the cost that they're willing to. They're willing to pay that price.
It's not even It's like, but they're putting that price on our backs. Though.
Yeah, it's not really them paying the cost. Yeah. It's us. Now, but think about what this can lead to, though. Think about if a woman has a miscarriage. Could that open her up to a possible investigation? Because I think it could. Maybe some people would be like, you know what? The details of this, I don't know. Let's investigate her. Maybe brought up on phony charges now, And so
it just creates a whole new avenue, like for people to get people up, lock people up.
Yeah. Maybe that's like
the underlying the secondary consequence. Maybe the secondary consequence that was foreseen.
You got to fill those jails, man. Now this is like, see, this whole subject is interesting to me because we know that 1973 Roe versus Wade, right?
Right.
That legalized abortion. It was a federal case. That was U.S. Supreme Court case that allowed people to undergo abortions across the nation. And there's one state now in Texas that is going to try to say, well, you can have the abortion. We can't stop you from having the abortion, but we will put you in jail for murder if you do have that abortion. That is like saying there was a case. It was what year was it? I think it was like 67, 68. I can't remember, but it was Lovin versus Virginia. And this is the case. It was a U.S. Supreme Court case that disallowed look, in the United States, in a lot of different states, they prohibited interracial couples from marrying. This case put it into that. So in effect, it legalized marrying whoever the hell you wanted to, no matter what race they were, what they looked like. That's like a state today in 2018 saying that, hey, interracial marriage, yeah, it's legal, but we're going to pass a law that says if you do, we're going to put you in jail for so. States' rights.
States' rights.
This is ridiculous.
Somebody asked whether it was whether it has passed anything yet, and I was like, no, it's just a House bill.
Yeah, it's just been proposed. I don't even believe it's been voted on yet.
No, heck no.
Yeah, so this is just something that's been proposed, and this is just something that we're gonna have to keep an eye on and see where it goes. Oh yeah, and then he wants you to know too, Tenderholt. He wants you to know that he's been death threats have been leveled against him as well, and he's actually I think he said that he's been he's been protected by the Department of Public Safety officers as well. I believe he's being protected by them. They, like, officers have been placed outside of his home as well.
Oh.
Now, I can't get down with death threats. I can't get down with, you know,
shit. I can.
I'm not gonna condone death threats or anything like that. But hell, if I sympathize with this man, like, sorry. I mean, like, what did you think was gonna happen?
This is what he did. He took out a piece of paper.
Mm-hmm.
He drew a circle. Then he drew a line from the top of the circle to the bottom, and a line from the left side of the circle to the right side. He then cut that out, cut that circle out, and then put it. He taped it right here. So yeah, he did that to himself.
You want to target?
Target himself.
Hey, like I said, yeah, I don't feel bad for the guy whatsoever. I don't want no harm to come to him. I won't wish harm again on him, but don't sympathize with him whatsoever. Where do you want to go though? Let's go to oh yeah, okay. Let's go to some positive news.
He said, Moose Gal said, "Get your religion out of my government." I would actually change that to "Get your religion out of my vagina."
Hell yeah, out of my uterus or something. Uterus. You know what I'm saying?
True that. Get your religion out of my
hell yeah, this is my body, right? But yeah, okay, so let's go to some good news in California, okay? So there are thousands of Californians whose criminal cases about marijuana are going to be dismissed or severely reduced because of one prosecutor. The prosecutor's name is San Francisco District Attorney George Gasson. So he announced on Wednesday that more than 3,000 people will automatically have misdemeanor marijuana convictions just stricken from their records. And I believe another 4,000 felony cases will be reconsidered for reduction to misdemeanor charges. So that is great news. And this is spurred on because California has legalized marijuana, recreational use of marijuana.
I mean, I think that like it makes sense for that to be the next step. Though.
1 + 1 = 2. How the hell could a state, how could a state legalize marijuana and then have people locked up for marijuana use? That's stupid.
Yeah, it would kind of be like when slavery is abolished, right?
Yeah.
Like, what do you tell the slaves? Well, the law was passed. The law was passed after y'all became slaves. Yeah. Mm. So y'all got to still pick that cotton, bow.
Yeah, I know, right?
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You ain't new to this.
You ain't new to this. Like it's this law.
You already in the system.
You already in the system. So right. Sorry. Sorry.
It's crazy, man.
Well, yeah. In the water, some more.
Well, like I said, this is great news, and why this district attorney took these measures, he took the initiative to do this, is because the convictions, I believe, the convictions dating back to 75, the new legal cannabis system, it was already supposed to vacate a lot of these criminal cases, like a lot of these guilty cases, but people weren't coming forward to actually get that done. Like, I mean, I guess like their lawyers weren't being proactive and like actually get, a lot of these people probably have public defenders, and they're not going to go the extra step. Yeah, exactly.
And they don't want
poor people.
And again, these public defenders, most of them are not going to get paid more because they're taking them more cases,
right?
Because they take them in lump sums.
Yeah. So he was saying that it was just a few eligible people actually applied, so he decided to take the next step, actually have the initiative to just automatically wipe a lot of these convictions off the books. So like I said, this is great news, and I applaud him for doing that straight up. But one thing that I guess I want to go to is so in 2011 in San Francisco, because if we're talking about San Francisco District Attorney, let's talk about like the marijuana cases in San Francisco. 50% of all marijuana arrests in San Francisco were black people.
In San Francisco, which is like one of the whitest cities in America.
I think black people make up about 6% of the population.
Yes, so are you suggesting that
50% of all marijuana arrests were black people? Now, do black people use marijuana?
I was like, was that question coming?
Yeah. Do black people use marijuana at a higher rate than white people?
No.
Okay. So they do not.
No.
Very simple answer. Okay. All right. So what that tells me is that, okay, so how do these black people get in jail?
They get in jail.
How do they get these convictions?
No, this is what happens. This is what. Well, first, let's before we get to the conviction, let's deal with how they get caught. Most likely,
how they get caught.
This is probably the most likely scenario.
Okay.
What they're doing is they're probably walking up to law enforcement and say, "I got some weed, bitch. Do something." They're probably walking up to law enforcement and giving themselves up. That's the only logical answer I could come up with. They're giving themselves up. They come and turn themselves in. That's why the conviction, the arrest rates and the conviction rates are so unbalanced.
That seems, I guess, logical, because, I mean, like, how else would all of these black people be rounded up? Like, significant, I mean, like, there's 6% of the population. Snitching. So black people snitching on other black people. Yo.
It was a snitching game.
Or is it that police officers are just targeting the black community? The 6% black people in San Francisco, they're targeting 6% of the population, and it's leading to 50% of the arrests. Come on.
Nah, you know what happens? Cops probably just walk in black neighborhoods and they say, "Hey, how many of y'all got weed on y'all right now?" Everybody's like, "We do. It's us."
Man, so like I said, this is good news, but man, this just highlights, this just further highlights a significant problem that is going on all across the country.
But you know, I think that like in addition to like their records kind of being cleansed and like I guess their conviction being vacated and all that whatnot, like you know how we talk about the school to prison pipeline a lot. I think it should like kind of like turn that back around and be like the prison to school pipeline, a prison to education pipeline.
No doubt.
You know what I'm saying? Because these people have to get back on their feet, right? You know what I'm saying? Like there should be some sort of like transition assistance.
There should be.
Like, you know, they get like a certain amount of time. I mean, or at least a choice. Because I'm pretty sure there's some that gonna not want to do shit.
You talking about a second chance?
Yeah, second chance. I'm pretty sure
actually do something with their lives.
I'm pretty sure there's some of them that probably ain't gonna want to do shit, but I'm pretty sure a lot of them will want to. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that would take an effort, man.
Yeah.
That would take a targeted effort. The same way, like, you know, the black community is being targeted. You'd actually have to target them for something good. And be like, hey, let's actually uplift you. Let's like actually give you a chance to do something. But you know, another piece of this news that I wanted to focus on too is that this move being made by this district attorney is also going to allow these people that are having their convictions, you know, vacated, dismissed, or reduced. It's going to make it easier for them to get jobs, and also they may even be, it's going to make it easier for them to actually work in the marijuana field as well. They might actually be able to sell it legally.
See, look at that, man. Just kind of like put them on a pathway.
Yeah, man.
To like have a job.
Yeah, same job, but legal. Yeah.
No, that would be ironic. That would be so ironic. Now, one thing that I kind of have more questions about, I guess I gotta dig deeper, but I guess the drug charges that have a felony conviction are going to be bumped down to misdemeanors. I wonder about the details to those felonies. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I guess these are like very like prominent cases, very prominent figures or people who were like in the middle of drug dealing.
Right.
But to me, all of them, I don't care at what level they are, to me, they all have to be vacated. I don't care what kind of charge it was. If it has to do with marijuana.
That's true, man. I mean, because, look, unless you actually brutalize somebody, you know what I'm saying, in conjunction with you
with yourself,
dealing or whatever, possessing or anything like that. But if you were just selling, or I mean, it's I don't know, like exactly. You'd have to really look at the cases, and if there's not another crime there, if there's not another crime that says like you beat somebody up or you threaten somebody with a gun or something like that, then why aren't they all just being vacated? You know.
And I honestly, here's I think a lot of that. I guess the misconceptions about marijuana and marijuana use. I think it's generational.
Yeah. Oh, it definitely is.
And I just don't think there's a lot of people over 50 that understand how widespread marijuana use is. How many people
been for years, man,
use it recreationally.
Yo,
you know the job.
Yes.
I have right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know how many times, like, I probably get offered when I drive maybe like 3 times a week, right? 3 or 4 times a week, 3 nights. People are very generous. I get offered to go smoke out at least 3 times a night. Sometimes it's weed, sometimes it's other things, for real. But like at least 3 times a night. And these are college students. I mean, it's like, I just don't think their parents and their grandparents recognize how much recreational use is out there. So they're in denial.
But
a lot of it's denial.
But maybe it's really just, you know, our supposed leaders that are shaping this conversation. Because has anybody ever heard of hippies before? That was decades ago.
No. No. Shut it. Boy, you know my boy, you know how people just get all defensive about that. That didn't happen.
Yeah.
They were the rebellious culture at one point, remember? Or some of them.
They were.
A large number of them. But they want to act like that didn't happen.
Yeah. Like weed is something new. Like the increased, like there's a severe increased usage of marijuana nowadays. Like, come on, man. Nah. Quickly, let's talk about Dr. Brenda Fitzgerald. She was the director of the CDC, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. She has resigned. Another one
bites the dust.
Another one. What'd you say? Is Trump ever gonna?
Is Trump ever gonna like fill these positions?
Man,
he might not fill. Might not fill these positions. There's like 700 of them though, so
he might not get to 100%.
He might not get to 100%.
They just keep falling, man. But okay, so this one she fell because of some unearthed details about her stock holdings.
Stock holdings she like had before she like when she entered the job.
Yes and no.
Okay.
Now she had some stock holdings, I believe, in like Merck and some yeah, exactly.
And she's head of the CDC.
Head of the CDC. Yeah, but see, that was before. Okay. That was before. So yeah, of course, there was an effort for her to divest from these corporations, from these stock holdings. But there was one that I guess there's an emphasis on. She actually had a stock holding in tobacco. Okay, now forgive me if I'm wrong. The CDC, the
Center for Disease Control.
Yes, they're the lead organization on
tobacco prevention
and preventing tobacco-related diseases, preventing smoking. They're the lead organization.
Yeah, like a lot of the funds kind of go to that. Mm-hmm. Well, most of the funds come from the tobacco companies, but
right.
But yeah, they promote that.
Right, and so she had stock in tobacco. Now you could say that, okay, well look, okay, she just came in to this position as director of the CDC. Let her have some time to divest, right? Yeah. Well, turns out that after she became the director of the CDC, that's when she purchased stock in tobacco. after.
So before. So not before, but
Not before she was the director.
So
after. Timeline of events. She became director of the CDC, and sometime afterwards, bought stock in tobacco.
Maybe the purchase lasted a certain amount of time. Maybe it was like one of those elongated purchases. Maybe it just didn't happen like overnight. Maybe she was in the process of purchasing already before she got the position at the CDC, and she didn't get the receipt. She didn't get the receipt until after she got the position.
Nope. Nope. So, first of all, supreme conflict of interest. Right? Supreme, like the utmost conflict of interest. But second of all, horrible judgment.
There's no way you don't know.
Oh my God!
There's no way you don't know.
You can't be that pathetic. Like you can't be that empty in your head to like where your decision making is that bad. There's no way. She had to know.
That would be like, let's say you are the leader or the head of some sort of like, I guess, advocacy group that highlights issues and alcohol abuse and like having that disease and that addiction. Like that would be like you having that position, like in the community or through the state agency, right? But you buy stock in alcoholic company, a company that sell alcohol. Like, how would that look?
Do you think that might color your judgment? Do you think that might kind of, I guess, shape the way you conduct business?
Oh, it definitely would. Because like it's a conflict of interest actually on both sides. Yeah. Like whatever side you are advocate for, and then your business side, it would be conflict of interest. Like, you know what I'm saying? You'd be conflicted on both sides.
Like I said, it's a bad look for her to have the stock. But my gosh, I think it's even worse, her judgment, man. Whether she knew, I mean, like, she had to know, but whether she knew or not, like, judgment like that, we can't have that. You can't have that. So I'm glad she's gone. I have no confidence that the next pick is going to be better, though. I mean, like, we've seen these nominations go. I mean, like, we've seen who Trump is nominating for these positions, and it's just... Like you said, another one bites the dust, man.
Well, I was about to, we got a question, but I think it's being answered beautifully without us. Moose Guy said, should we legalize all drugs? And I kind of agree with the answer that Angie gave immediately after that question. It says you just can't let mollies and meth and GBH be legal, but I agree with you that it should not be treated in a criminal manner, but as a health care issue. And I think that's the key right there. Treating it as a health care issue, would probably have a lot better results.
I agree. I mean, there's been some countries that
sounds like a reality show, though. Yeah. Mollies and meth.
I know that should probably be a title.
See, man, Angie done messed up. You done put it out there. Now it's either gonna be a reality show or a trap song.
But I don't know. Like, I mean, I agree to a degree. Like, I do believe, like, it should be treated like a healthcare issue, like a rehabilitation issue. I think at the end of the day, like, every drug should be legal. But like, when you're talking about like bath salts, like, that's no good. you can't recreationally use bath salts. You just can't. Like, people have 8 faces because of bath salts.
Like, what about speed? What about speed?
True. I mean, there's some drugs out there that's like, they're significantly harmful. So I get that you can't just have
the crocodile.
What?
Remember that crocodile? You don't remember that?
I don't remember that.
Yeah, it's a crocodile. It's like, it basically like eats your, like, it pretty much looks like it eats your flesh. Damn. You know how like when you cook like a turkey leg, you cook a turkey leg or a chicken leg or like a drumstick, and like it kind of draws up a little bit and it exposes the bone. Yeah, that's what crocodile does.
My gosh, man. Like I said, I know there's some drugs out there that like you said, you really can't have a system where it's being funneled to other people, you know, like being spread to other people. But like I said, we got to get off of this criminalizing drugs in this country, though. Most drugs, at least. Like, there's, you know, even the drugs that have no medicinal use. Like, if that's what people want to do, provide them an outlet to seek rehabilitation. But people are gonna be people, man. And like I said, it's not certain kinds of drugs like bath salts, man. Like I said, there's no recreational use for bath salts at all. All right, so let's go to the Cleveland Indians. So finally, about damn time, the Cleveland Indians, they're gonna stop using the Chief Wahoo logo on all of their gear. You know, everything that's gonna be sold on the MLB website, on the team website, you know, everything at the stadium, all of it's going to be changed. Not going to use that Chief Wahoo logo anymore. And if you don't really follow baseball, this is what the logo looks like. It's a very racist logo. I mean, red face, the Indian. I mean, it's blatant. It's very blatant. It's totally inappropriate. But they're going to stop using it in the 2019 season. So this season is going to go forward with that same logo. Nothing's going to change, but in 2019 it's going to be a change. I don't believe they have come up with a new logo yet. So, you know, we don't know what it's going to look like, what they're going to change it to, but like I said, it's going to stop being used. Now this was created in 1948, I believe, this cartoon character of a Native American. It first appeared on the Indians uniforms in 1948. So of course there's been a big push to discontinue the use of this logo for years and years and years. Not just them, but other teams as well. But if we're just talking about the Cleveland Indians, there's been a significant push to end the use of this logo. And the commissioner of baseball, who's Rob Manfred, he has put pressure, or he has been putting pressure on the team owner to do this. And like I said, finally he has succumbed to the pressure, and he's going to do that. But I guess we'll talk about, there's this guy named Philip Yenyo. He's the executive director of the American Indian Movement of Ohio. And while he applauded this decision, he said, why wait? If you're going to do this, if you're going to go this far and get rid of it, why not do it now? All they are doing is testing it out, because the name has to go too. The nickname absolutely has to go. It's not just a logo.
Because now it's been branded. It's not just a logo. It's kind of, it represents some sort of like, it represents marketing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, we know the team name goes back decades, but that name goes with that logo. Both are unacceptable. So if you're going to discontinue the use of the logo, then why not?
Because the logo is based, the name is based on the logo.
Yeah, like what other logo could you come up with that's representative of the team name? The name is the Indians. What are you going to come up with?
Well, I just don't think a group of people should be a mascot.
Oh, I don't think so either.
I don't think a group of people should be a mascot.
And I don't know if anybody remembers this. Bomani Jones, who works for ESPN. He's a ESPN commentator. I believe this was last year or maybe 2016. It might have been 2016. Yeah, he wore a shirt on one of the ESPN shows, and this was what he wore. It was the Cleveland shirt, but it wasn't called the Indians. It was the Cleveland Caucasian shirts. And he took a lot of flack for this. A lot of people were upset with this. Now,
they didn't get the irony.
No, a lot of white people were upset with it.
They didn't get the irony.
Yeah, no, they didn't get the irony. Now, why? I don't understand how they could not get the irony, because again, the Cleveland Indians is a mascot of people, of a race of people. It's just like having the Cleveland Caucasians on your T-shirt.
Cleveland Koreans.
Yeah, exactly. How about like what if the Cleveland Blackies and the Cleveland Negroes take the field? Is that objectable? I mean, like, should we?
The Negroes
object to that?
The Negroes are on a hot streak.
I mean, it's. The team name has to go. It has to go. Now, there's been other teams that have done away with their names. And I remember back in the like the mid 90s, I remember I used to follow St. John's University, the basketball team. Mm-hmm. And they used to be called the St. John's Redmen. Again, that's objectionable. And they changed their name to the Red Storm.
You know what? I didn't even know that happened.
Yeah, I remember it. Yeah.
I didn't even know that happened.
I mean, that was one of the teams I used to follow, and I remember. Yeah, they changed it to Red Storm. Applaud the move. Now, why can't the Cleveland Indians do that? Why can't the Washington Redskins do something like that?
I gotta push back on the ace of base. Indians are not offended. Not non-Indians are offended on behalf of the Indians. Well, I don't know if you did a poll on all Indians. I don't know if you can say that. And I think there's always this assumption that the groups that have been marginalized and the groups that have been disenfranchised the most, there's this idea that somehow they magically understand all that has to do with their disenfranchisement. They magically can just because they have a certain skin tone, automatically be able to articulate everything about this world and how this world engages with them. Mm-hmm. Like somehow, and they can do it correctly and respond to it correctly. So to me, it's not necessarily about non-Indians being offended, but non-Indians or non-marginalized groups or non-anything could just do the right thing. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Maybe it is even if there are some Indians that are not offended by it.
Mm-hmm. Doesn't make it right.
But it doesn't make it right. And maybe there's a reason why they're not, because maybe that's all they have. Maybe that's all they have as representation. Maybe if their land wasn't stolen from them, maybe if they weren't criminalized, maybe if none of that happened, they wouldn't have some sort of superficial symbol to look at or some sort of superficial representation. So maybe some of those Indians think that, hey, that's all we have.
And especially even in today's age too, how many different Native American communities are in dire straits right now? You know, they're not being supported by the American government. No, they are not. A lot of them are dealing with addiction problems. No help from the American government is on the way. No. What they do, what politicians do, is they feed them lip service when it comes time for elections. But then after that, they totally forget them. So, and especially specifically the Washington Redskins. If you look in the dictionary, Redskin, it should already be, evident to you. Redskin,
Brooklyn Blackskins.
It's a derogatory name, and it says so in the dictionary as well. So I know a lot of people point to there's some polls that came out, and it was 90% of Native Americans are okay with it, and they're okay. They don't whatever. Why are you okay with it? That's the point, and I think that's the point you're making. Why are you okay with the team name being racially offensive to people like that?
And like I said,
why are you on that side?
And even if there are some members of a group that may be essentially okay with it, there may be a psychological reason why they're okay with it, because they don't have anything else. So if they see their name out there, they see some sort of representation, they might be okay with it,
right?
Because that's all they have left. You know what I'm saying? That's all they have as, some sort of representation of their people. You know what I'm saying?
I saw Angie saying that she wants that shirt. I want that shirt too, man. I know it's being sold somewhere. When he had first wore it on ESPN, I think I saw some places were selling it. I never made made that step to actually get one.
So again, we have to look at this in totality. If it's not such a big issue, then why did people react to Bomani Jones? Wearing
if it's not an issue.
If it's not an issue.
If it doesn't, they would have just laughed.
They would have just laughed. You know what I'm saying? So obviously,
but I guess they don't like to be objectified.
And again, you might be okay with being objectified if all you see, if I guess all you view yourself as is an object, and maybe an object that doesn't have any value or less in value. Right. So yeah, you might be okay with being objectified.
Right. I guess we can do one more.
Yeah, we can do it.
So on Tuesday, and this is what we didn't get to. We were planned on talking about this on Tuesday, but We talked so much about the memo. And then the movie plot in Baltimore. We talked a long time about that. But on Tuesday, Amazon, Berkshire Hathaway, and J.P. Morgan Chase, they all banded together and decided that they're going to work together and form an insurance company so that they can provide better insurance to all their employees. And the amount of employees that work at all these three corporations total about like $1.2 million. I mean, I'm not saying 1.2, 1.1 or 1.2 million people. So like I said, I think Amazon has been suspected to get into the healthcare industry for some time now. And this is the way they're doing it. You're gonna group with these other multinational corporations and try to do the right thing.
So the idea,
for their employees.
So the approach is to take away the middleman.
That is the approach. They want to.
But is that the only key to stabilizing the market, though?
I don't know.
Because see, these are some.
It's a big key.
These are some venture capitalists, though, and like everything to them is about efficiency and cutting costs.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But unfortunately, like if you're looking at like I don't know, like what businesses they're commonly involved in, that doesn't involve people's health.
No.
You know, it involves retail stores.
Right.
You know, warehouses, manufacturing. Like when you're cutting costs. I mean, really, it's kind of like isolated to like this work environment. Now you're in an environment where you have to provide health care to people. Mm-hmm. So what if, you know, because it's going to be leveraging costs from these ventures they have out there and then this new venture they have in healthcare, because that's essentially why they can do this, because they have the capital to do so. Mm-hmm. So this is an investment to them. So I'm just trying to figure out how are they going to leverage this? How are they going to leverage these two things? They're going to have this set of investments over here. All these things are going to be tied to their new venture. You see what I'm saying? That's my concern.
I'm not. I guess I don't feel like they're going to get it done. I'm not very, I guess, high on this idea. I applaud I guess I applaud their effort if they are sincere in their intentions, because their intention is to remove the profit motive from healthcare. Like they don't want to make a profit.
But they are profit driven.
Of course. Well, I guess on their business side, they are profit driven. But what they are saying is that on the healthcare side, what they're going to try to do is do the right thing for their employees without having a profit motive. Might be a little rich.
So men with
might be a little rich.
Really, can you just cut that off though? Can they just cut that part of themselves off? Essentially, their whole being and their whole existence is surrounded by, I guess, the mindset of having a profit motive behind anything and everything that they do. That's what they're driven by. So,
well, see, this is why I don't think it's going to get done, because I don't see how they're going to get it done. And, you know, I know this is the beginning of it. They haven't, you know, constructed this company yet, this healthcare system yet, but they really didn't offer any details about how they're actually going to get it done. They said they're going to use technology to
like apps.
Yeah. But this is the thing, right? When it comes down to it, healthcare, there's a cost when it comes to healthcare. So doctors going to have to be paid, hospitals going to have to be paid, you know, just health practitioners. I mean, like, there's money that's going to have to be doled out to these practitioners. Where is that money going to come from? That's at the end of the day, I mean, that's like the simplest thing to look at. Where is the money going to come from? Is it like, you know, are all the employees just going to band together and they're going to be paying approximately the same thing, and that's going to reduce costs? I don't know, because I know healthcare in any year that we have been alive, healthcare has always been
expensive. So yeah, it's like,
so I don't know how they're actually going to cut costs. I don't know.
And I understand they want to keep that under wraps. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's going to be the key. Like, how are they going to keep the cost down.
See, like it makes sense for me. Like if you listen to Bernie Sanders' idea and a lot of others talking about single payer and raising taxes, you're talking about millions and millions and millions of people. You're talking about raising a lot of money that could pay for healthcare for the whole nation. That I get that. Like that's a plan. I understand that.
But you're saying is like how are you going to regulate this new system?
Yeah,
That's
I don't know. $1.2 million. Is there enough money that they can pay, but it's not too much for them? You know what I'm saying? Like they can actually cut costs. They'll all pay something, but it's not crippling them, and they can get better health care. I don't know, man. I don't know. We will see. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not. I don't think I believe that this is going to work, but I guess they're gonna give it a try. So
we'll see. I mean, I don't want to be too pessimistic, but
yeah, I know. Yeah, like I said, I mean, it's an effort. Like you said, you doubt. I guess you kind of doubt their motives, really. Doubt their authenticity.
Authenticity.
Yeah.
Well, it's like what they consciously say their motives are versus how they're subconsciously driven. That's all I'm saying.
So you think it's gonna get in the way?
Could.
I don't know. You got Warren Buffett in there, so he has said some things about taxes before, where he's not one of those billionaires that's like, he said, yeah, I need to be taxed more. So I don't know, man.
Let's see it. Yeah.
Hopefully their motives are sincere. They are trying to do the right thing.
Let's see how that conscience he has to help people, I guess, applies to this investment in this venture.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. There was one other story we had about the that won't actually take too long. The Koch network, the Koch brothers, seems like they understand that this election coming up, these midterm elections are going to be pretty difficult for Republicans. It's like they're sensing that there's going to be a hell of a fight getting the Republicans to maintain their hold on the House and the Senate.
Yeah, because there's a lot of retirees.
Oh yeah, and a lot of the retirees.
A lot of seats up for grabs.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of seats up for grabs. So it was like some private presentation that was given to hundreds of rich people, six-figure donors. They all gathered at some exclusive resort in California, in the California desert. The network, the Koch network, the CEO, well, the CEO of Americans for Prosperity, her name is Emily Seidel. She said that the network has, quote, never faced a challenge like this one, getting Republicans to maintain their grip on the House and the Senate. So Democrats only need 24 seats to reclaim the majority in the House. And we know that in the Senate, that it's only by one, right? Well, the Republicans only have a lead by one. So Democrats need to flip two at least. The Koch network, they plan on spending like $400 million this cycle. $400 million
on ads or propaganda. You know it's going to be some fear-mongering propaganda.
Oh, no doubt. That's what they do. That's a big number.
Oh no, that's a big number. I mean, like the article that I read that covered this presentation, I think I told you about this. I thought it was funny that they called the AFP a grassroots political arm. How can it be grassroots if it's funded by billionaires, or if it's kind of bankrolled and initiated by billionaires? How is it grassroots?
Grassroots equals let my money do the talking for me.
Paul Ryan sure raked in $500,000 of that grassroots money. That grassroots money after the tax bill passed.
No doubt.
That grassroots loot.
Grassroots greenbacks, man. Yeah, billionaires are part of a grassroots effort. Like, grassroots is supposed to be like low level stuff, like people actually using their
organization,
like, organization. Not so much money.
Organizing activists.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Like using like some physical energy to go door knocking and stuff, and like actually get together, group together, forums, develop a strategy,
workshops.
Not throwing money into a super PAC and then letting them like design some ad that's going to be placed on TV. That's not grassroots. That's the opposite of grassroots. That's what billionaires do.
Yeah. Oh, and they're scared. I think there's one interesting thing that was said at this little presentation was that they're trusting that this recent tax bill is going to, I guess, increase in popularity because it already is. So by the time these elections kind of start taking place, the popularity, you know what I'm saying, will rise for it because it's already going in that direction. I was like, since when? My thing is, if they really think that, right, they would not be investing so much money.
And they wouldn't frame this as like a challenge they've never faced before.
They really think this tax bill, because that's what they're kind of like, this whole, they're being involved in this is centered on, is that tax bill. If they were really so confident about it and its popularity, they would not be scared.
They wouldn't. If they think it's going to do exactly what they say it's going to do, they wouldn't be so scared. But see, like the narrative that they push is like, yeah, this is a tax cut for the middle class, right? Middle class earners, they're going to be taking home more pay. You know, when it comes to tax time, they're going to get back more. Corporations are handing out bonuses left and right. They're employing more people. But see, when we talked about the tax reform, right? When we talked about this legislation, I remember us talking about the state and local taxes. You remember that? That deduction that they were going to be stripping away?
Yeah.
Now, in high taxed areas like New York and California, even in Texas as well, too, which is a red state, but they did that, whatever. But in these high property tax states, they're going to be paying thousands of dollars more on taxes because they removed that deduction. Now, let's say they actually work at one of these places where they're going to get maybe $1,000 bonus. Is that going to do anything to help them when they can't get the tax deduction for state and local taxes? Is that going to help them out?
It's a shell game.
Yeah.
It's a shell game.
And that bonus only comes one time. You think they're going to hand out that bonus like quarterly? Yearly? No. It's a one-time bonus.
And I think like what they're doing is trying to, or the Koch brothers, they're trying to like, I wouldn't say extort, but they're trying to bribe like Republicans to kind of push this, because I think they said they weren't going to support any Republicans they viewed as unprincipled conservatives, and they challenged ones that they viewed as unprincipled. So they wouldn't support, which means they wouldn't give any money to. So they're kind of like trying to put that out to you, like, hey,
you better get down with the program.
You better get down with the program.
Right.
But I'm like, what do they mean by unprincipled conservatives? What do they mean by that?
You gotta mean that they vote the right way, or they say the right things, man.
Cater to big business.
Oh yeah, no doubt, man. You better be in my pocket, or you're not getting this bread. I mean, I think that's the simplest explanation.
Pretty much. That's what they mean by unprincipled conservative.
You're not principled.
You're not principled
to my attempts to bribe you.
Exactly. You're not hip to my principles.
Oh god,
that's what that means. When billionaires like that say unprincipled, they don't mean like these maintain some sort of
ethics,
yeah,
morality, integrity,
and look out for the greater good.
Right? No. They don't believe that. No. They're talking about, if you don't do what I say that you should do, then you're not gonna get my money. You're an unprincipled conservative. So. Anyway, all right, so that is the show for tonight. We tackled a lot of different things, man. At least
9 to 10 different things.
Yeah, man. but we got one good story, like we said, in California, the marijuana story.
True that.
Look, we don't.
uplift.
That was an uplifting story. We don't usually do a lot of uplifting stories because there's so much garbage out there, and it takes an effort to really find one. You know, something that's good that's being done. You know, that we can really highlight. But thankfully, we got that, and we hope more states are doing the same thing. You know, there's 9 states that have legalized recreational use of marijuana, and DC as well has legalized recreational use. We don't know that these other states are doing the same thing, though, trying to overturn these convictions, especially automatically.
Because that will just take money away from a particular industry.
You know they don't really want
that. They don't want that, man. They gotta have.
You're gonna tank the
occupied jail cells. They gotta have those jail cells occupied
because there's an incentive to keep it at maximum, right? Like you have to have a certain. We did that story on private prisons. Remember that?
Oh yeah.
They had to have a certain number of inmates to get that money. How you think they're gonna get those inmates?
You basically. Naturally, of course.
People just out there committing crime. You gotta find them.
Yeah.
Or you gotta criminalize stuff, right? Please, man. Appreciate that, Jeremiah. Jeremiah giving us a contribution. I believe there was another one.
Angie earlier.
Was Angie?
Yeah.
Appreciate that, Angie.
Yeah, she contributed something earlier.
Mrs. Roden, I believe. I appreciate that. We appreciate that. Always supporting us. Let's go ahead and get to the calls. We're going to set this thing up for calls. If anybody has anything to say, any questions for us or anything like that. Let's see. The number is 646-876-9223. I'm going to set up this this little atmosphere here. Take me just a minute here. You know, one day, this is going to be a seamless process. One day.
Like a zipper.
Yeah.
Like a zipper, hopefully.
One day it's just going to be like, bam, you know? But right now, you know, we got to do what we do. Let me see. All right. All right. All right. So let me see. There's one thing else I gotta do here. You know what? Let's put this on.
Yeah.
Gotta put these on. You got hold it? Okay.
Yeah, I heard it.
You heard it?
Something
I
right
think you
channel.
got the wrong. Hold on. You got the wrong one. Yeah. No, do you? Is that the wrong? Yeah, that's the wrong one. Okay. All right. Didn't cut anybody off. All right, now let's see if we can hear. Nope, that's the wrong thing. Audio. All right, I can hear that. Loud as what? All right, I think we got a caller already waiting. Let's get to it. You are on the phone live with LTMB Live. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Yes, we can hear you. Now, hold on. Let me make sure that our audience can. No, our audience cannot. Hold on. Okay, hold on 1 second. I think we are not getting the audience to hear you. Let's see. Nope,
yep,
they can't hear. All right,
so
hold on 1 second here. I think we gotta. Okay. I think we gotta cut this off and then cut it back on. Alright. Alright. Let's see if. Nope. Yo, this is so annoying though. Straight up. Nope, not. Yeah, you hold on 1 second. Let's see. That should do it right there. Dang, no, it's not doing. Okay, hold on. You know what? Let's just. See whether you can hear you. No. Well, we can hear you, but the audience is definitely not hearing you. Now, this is the same thing. This is the same process we went through last time, and this worked. All right. I think we can't hear it now, right? Yeah. Okay. All right, caller, you there? Damn.
Yeah, we can hear you, but your sound is not coming through the our desktop audio. And we're doing the same thing we did last time.
You know what? Let me just say something again, caller. Damn it. All right, we have always been able to fix this. Can you hear?
No, can't. Usually there's some background noise, but no, I can't hear it now.
Hello?
Yeah, there's no background noise.
So oh my gosh.
Usually there's like air going back.
Yeah,
and forth.
this you know what, let's just get out of this environment and then I'm gonna come back into it. All right, let me leave it and then I'm gonna go back into it. We apologize for these technical difficulties. All right, join. All right. I believe the caller is still there, right? No, this is not easy whatsoever. Unmute. Let me see. Unmute. Let's see. Caller, say something else. Testing. Oh my gosh. And you haven't called in before, have you? Have you? Okay. Must have been a while ago.
I can't hear him.
You can't hear?
Is my thing on?
Oh, okay. You know what?
Yeah, okay, yeah.
All right. I mean, that's the same. This is the same process that we've done before. So I don't understand why the audience. Let me check the feed. Nobody can hear her. You got any ideas?
You did the same thing you did last time.
I know. I did the same exact thing I did before, and it would come on. So let me try this one thing here. Let's see. Let's see. Bam. Let me put this. Let me set that as default. Okay, because that's what we're using. And I didn't hear you. Right there. This. All right, caller. Can you say something else?
Okay, here I am.
All right, I think you are being heard now. I believe.
Okay.
Let's verify that.
Can you hear the caller and anybody in the chat?
Hello?
Oh my gosh! All right, yeah, we got you on now. My goodness, that is very frustrating. I'm sorry. We're very sorry about that, audience.
That's fine.
All right, what's your name again?
Okay, this is Mary Hill from
This is Mary.
Salt Lake City or Twilla in Utah.
Okay, good to hear from you, Mary.
And I just wanted to touch on something I mentioned in chat because I was reading up on it. Because this abortion thing just pisses me off so much because they don't see the danger that they're posing.
Right.
They're jailing people, and women have been prosecuted in Latin America for losing their babies and being accused of doing it on purpose.
Yeah, that's again, like that's kind of something that me and Will thought was going to be a consequence. That there's going to be like witch hunts, pretty much.
No doubt. Yeah, like just suspecting people that have had miscarriages for actually undertaking an abortion.
There's women haters in government. There are people who really hate women and really hate this woman movement.
Yep.
I think that their hate is more rooted in them being afraid of women, more so, and being afraid of kind of women, kind of like, I guess, sharing power with women. So it stems from I guess some sort of weakness, you know, they have. It makes an appearance as if they are very macho and alpha, but they're really not, you know.
Well, to be fair, I guess they're more afraid of where will they stand in the world if women have more power or something. I don't know.
And there's a lot of backwards individuals in high positions, and we see that with this Me Too movement. We see that with all these men that have been outed as being sexual predators and harassing women. They feel like they can get away with it, and it's not just that they feel they can get away with it. They feel that they are superior to women and they can impose their will on them. So this is not much different.
But the whole thing with, we care about unborn babies so much and we kill so many children. You know, I'm always like, hello, Yemen, that SEAL Team 6, who we say are heroes, killed children under age of 13, not just one. The media only talks about the one that was an American citizen. More than that, they killed an infant. We don't love children. We kill children. So that's what pisses me off. And I was wondering they killed Osama bin Laden. So I was wondering what happened to his family. I couldn't find anything that happened in the complex that day when they killed him. But apparently, and this is something about Iran, which I didn't know, apparently Iran did take Osama's family in at one time and kind of held them as prisoners before they actually moved on to Pakistan. So, and a couple of them escaped to live better lives, but some of them were either killed or it doesn't say what happened to them after that complex. So I don't know. But they lived a very bad life. Apparently he married his daughters off as soon as they hit puberty, and his poor sons were expected to follow his lead and all that good stuff. So I just wanted to mention that. I did some research while you guys were talking and stuff because I wanted to know that, but I couldn't find out what happened the day Osama died to everybody else who was in that complex, unfortunately.
Dang.
They lived a horrible life. And again, we kill children, we destroy their homes. We're taking water, we're poisoning water. So this whole thing of we care so much about unborn babies is such BS because it's like, no, you don't. So anyway, I just wanted to get that off.
We agree.
Don't care. They don't care.
Yeah, you're right, and it's obvious that they don't. And you just cited only a few examples. You know what I'm saying? You just cited just
off the top
of the
dome,
just off the top of your head. So I mean,
don't care about all the children that are hospitalized or killed or starving because of what we're doing and have lost their homes, and they don't hear about it because our media isn't allowed to cover it because they're paid to shut up and be pretty actors on TV. So.
Totally agree.
So that's my input, and sorry I wasn't able to find out what happened the day Osama died to the rest of the people that were there, but a little background. So maybe there is something about Iran. Apparently they were trying to make a deal to maybe give over some of the bin Ladens for a trade and U.S. not being so harsh on them, but Bush and Cheney said nope. So I guess Iran isn't all that innocent. Okay, I get it. But still, I don't think we're not either. So
right.
I just hypocrisy. We're not that different from Russia. We have fellow Americans who are trying to make us like North Korea by telling us, you have to stand for the anthem. You have to stand for the American flag. Otherwise, you're not supporting the troops. Nothing to do with the troops. They're being brainwashed.
I don't think people understand how closely we're coming to that.
And they're expecting you to do it like good little boys and girls. Otherwise, you're not being good little boys and girls, and we have to make you a demon and a terrorist.
Like they want to shape other people's patriotism. Now that's the effort that's going on right now, and it's going up to the highest level of the president of the United States. You have to exhibit your patriotism in this way.
Because this whole Christian or religious freedom thing is all about, okay, Christians, we're mostly a Christian country. You go ahead and tell these infidels how they
that's right. You're right. He did kind of. He highlighted religious freedom during the State of the Union. I forgot about that.
Religious liberty, yeah, no doubt. Of course he did.
So that. Oh, and I don't know if anybody else has this. I got a license plate holder that says "Not a brainwashy patriotic junkie," because here in Utah we have these new license plates with the American flag that says "God bless America." I'm seeing them all over the place in like half the cars. I have all these brainwashy patriotic junkies.
To me, like anything like that, like whether it be license plates or T-shirts or I don't know, like posters. To me, when I see stuff like that, that's a sign that deep down inside, they know the country is bankrupt. Deep down inside, they know that there's so much corruption. Deep down inside, they have to push it. They have to push it. They have to push it down, and they say things like that. And with those phrases, "God bless America," they wear stuff with those phrases, and they say those phrases because I think that's easier than dealing with some of the dysfunctions of our society. So to me, that's how I see that as. It's just some sort of outwardly expression of something that they truly don't want to accept, and that's like a pacifier or like a comfort blanket that they wear.
It's the easiest way not to get any pushback on what they deem to be patriotic, what they deem to be like pride for your country. Just push that idea that God bless the United States, and push their idea of patriotism. And if anybody kind of objects to that or tries to get you to see something that's not right with the country, then you must be unpatriotic.
Yeah, I guess I can get that point, because I mean, living the way I do and anger all the time isn't good for one's health. So I guess it is. There is something about that ignorance is bliss thing, even though one person did point out that only for a little while. It doesn't last.
No. Well, you have to create something else to be blissful about. That's what'll happen. It'll constantly recycle itself because they'll create something else. You know what I'm saying? Or they'll shift. They'll just kind of fall through another mental trap door and be kind of blissful about something else. There's enough things out there to be blissful about. So, but.
Well, and I just saw Jenny Lynn say, "You hate the troops," and you know what? I really am having a hard time with this because. I agree with, okay, I want to support the troops by, one, not having a reason for them to have to go anywhere. I want to support the troops by not having them be troops, I mean, our military is basically set up to where you have to go in the military to get an education. You have to go in the military to get health insurance.
That's again, I think that's
another. I was
in the
military because I didn't know what else to do with my life. I was poor. I couldn't depend on my family. I had to leave. So, and in the military, you have no freedom. You sign your freedom away. They have no freedom. So when you're in the military, they tell you you have to follow orders or else you get punished. So they train you in the military to be, again, good little obedient boys and girls.
Good way to foster a subservient society.
Yes. So, yeah.
And I think that whole "you hate the troops" thing is a way to like guilt people into kind of supporting what we do across the globe. And I think, like I said, they are suppressing exactly what we do across the globe, and they don't want to deal with it. So no different than people using "God bless America" as some sort of bandage. We kind of use that guilt trip of "you hate the troops" as some sort of bandage, so we won't have to deal with like all the stuff that this country does. But
well, and it works because I'm like, well, I don't, how do I support the troops, and not condone this behavior? I don't know. I mean, Jane Fonda still gets slack for Vietnam, even though it's been out now. Yeah, Vietnam should not have happened, and we did some pretty crappy stuff. Again, killing lots of children and women had nothing to do with war. So.
Well, Mary, you brought up some very important issues, and you provided some insight as well as some topics to talk about, and we appreciate your call, and we appreciate you watching the show, and we're gonna
and being active in the chat as well.
Yeah. Well, and I did sign up to give you guys like $5 a month. That's about all I can do at the moment, but you're on my monthly $5 a month thing.
We appreciate that.
Yeah, no, anything.
Yeah, we definitely appreciate that. Anybody who's willing to contribute to us financially, man, that takes a lot, straight up. In today's day, a lot of people don't have disposable income, so we appreciate that, Mary.
Not much, but I'm trying. Okay, well, thanks, guys. Appreciate that.
You're welcome. You have a nice night.
Have a good night and a good weekend.
Bye. You too.
I could talk to Mary for a long time.
Yeah, man.
She one of the people that you could just come over and just like have some tea.
You remember being in Philly, right?
Not that kind of tea though. not that.
But no, you remember being in Philly, right?
Yeah.
For the DNC, right? Man, we stayed out to the wee hours of the morning. Every single night. It was
ridiculous.
Just talking. It was gonna be like that. I didn't know that either.
It was like Monday, Tuesday,
just
Wednesday,
every day
Thursday.
we were there, we found not just one person, but we found several people that we were just talking to, and it just went into so many different areas. Yeah. And that's how it is, and that's how Mary is. And we could talk to her about so many different issues. There was one thing that she said. One thing, but she was talking about these people don't really care about children, right?
Right.
And I agree with that, because when you're talking about abortion, right, they want to be like, okay, we care about the children. Life begins at conception and blah blah blah. But we know that once that kid comes out, a lot of these kids are born into poverty, right? You don't care about that kid after that kid is able to breathe for themselves. But you care about that kid in the womb. You don't even
care for that kid, even if there are parents that don't want to be a part of that kid's life.
Nope. Don't care whatsoever. At least in your actions, your rhetoric.
And what's funny is, Mary did bring up, how we kind of kill kids through covert and overt military actions. And quite a bit of those people we kill are pregnant women.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And also some of those people we kill are fathers of kids.
Yeah.
So
aren't we aiding a war against Yemen right now? A war in which Saudi Arabia has been.
But Saudi Arabia is the good guys.
I don't know how.
Apparently, according to Trump.
Well, they're the good guys because we're on their side.
We're on their side. So that's basically how we determine who's good and who's bad.
Right. That's right. That's absolutely correct. Yeah. Innocent civilians being blown up. They're obviously on the wrong side. They're on the wrong side. Anyway. But yeah, I think that's what we have for you today. On Thursday, I think we had a good show. I don't anticipate us talking about the State of the Union again, so that's good. That's very good. I'm sure this memo talk will continue because it hasn't been released, or if it's not going to be released, that's still something that we're gonna have to talk about. Because, like you said, there's two ways to go at this thing.
Two paths, same consequence.
And they're going to the same location. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be very interesting to see when they arrive at that location. And what path they take to get there. That's going to be interesting. But yeah, I appreciate everybody that was with us for this show. As always, we can't do it without you. We appreciate our audience. We appreciate all of our patrons. Patreon.com/LTMB. We appreciate all of you for
Wait, stop. The memo has been released.
Are you serious?
You serious? You better not be bullshitting us. Don't play with us. Don't play with this heart here.
Appreciate that, Aaron. Donated $10. Appreciate that.
Oh,
Aaron
Lord.
Barnett.
Yeah,
shout out.
That's not. See, I didn't want
Memo. Yes.
We were trying to avoid.
Oh, hold on. Aaron Barnett, $10 a month. Another shout out.
Dang.
Appreciate that, Aaron.
What up, man?
Tara Braid, another one of our patrons. What's up, Tara Braid? But yeah, okay, hold on. The memo been released? What?
I know.
Don't leave. Let's see. Hold on, but hold on. Yeah, memo's been. Yeah, this is something that we're gonna have to look at.
Yeah, maybe y'all should check out the after show.
Yeah,
we can kind of,
because we're gonna have to.
We can flow into that in the after show because we're gonna.
Let's see. Hold on. What are the headlines? I don't see where it says it's been released though. No, I don't see where it says it's been released. You know, there's something wrong with this mouse sometimes. Let me see the hell. No, I don't see it says it's been released. Hope we ain't getting provided faulty information. It's like, yeah, it's just the headlines we're seeing is just saying that, you know, like on the Hill, furor grows over news intel memo, CNN, just saying, just regular talk about the memo. You see, Jay was joking. He got us. I thought you was being serious.
Yeah, I know.
You can't say something like that.
You know what? Like I said, at this point in time, either way it don't matter because we know it's going to come to the same end.
Jay said fake news. He got us with the fake news, man.
He got us with the fake news.
He got us with the fake news.
We looked it up.
Yeah,
make sure it was real.
Exactly.
So.
See, we're gonna take your word for it, man. We're gonna check that out, man. He did get us though. I thought it was real because I was
about to pop some popcorn.
Exactly right. Like,
I was about to get
let me see some details, man. After show was like now. Right after we get off in about 5 minutes, we'll be on the after show. Somebody asked us too about grading the State of the Union. What you want? 8? Well, no. You want to do 1 to 10?
1 to 10?
1 to 10?
Yo, did he get anything right though?
Yeah.
Because he did. Okay, let's deal with it like this. It was about what 20 different. It was about 20 to 25 different things he talked about. Yeah. Was he right on any of them? That's what it's about. Because that's what we're judging on. We're judging it based on substance.
See, because I got about like 15 of them right here.
Exactly. So did he get anything right? No.
Ooh.
Okay, you can. You know how you just like you get points for like in the SAT. You get points for like basically you fill out information right, like your name. You get points for that. Okay, he gets some points for that.
For showing up.
He get points for showing up.
You said not tripping up.
Not tripping up. He gets points for that. So we do have to be honest about it and factor that part of it in, like the oratory part.
Does he? It's like, if I could give him any points for any of the substance of his speech.
Oh, so we're gonna do 2 parts? A substance part.
Yeah. Gotta split it up.
Gotta split it up.
A comprehensive score.
Comprehensive score.
If I could give him any points for any part of the actual speech, like the substance. You looking pretty hard. If you gotta look that hard. He was correct about the black unemployment rate falling and being at an all-time low. No matter.
Use that.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not appreciative of how he used it, and it seems like he's wanting to take all the credit for it. Not appreciative of that, but at least that fact was right.
So that's one thing.
That's all I got. That's straight up all I got, man. Everything else was just lip service. So I
like a 0.5 out of 10 for that one. All right, because remember it's gonna be cumulative, so it was an average. So it was 0.5 out of 10.
I was gonna give him a 2, dog.
I was just looking at how, like, if you say he was good on that one thing,
Yeah.
I was just trying to like compare, like there was other 20 things he was wrong on.
Yeah, that's true.
So that'd be 0.5.
Deducting.
I was
You gotta
deducting.
deduct some. Okay.
So that's the percentage of what he got wrong.
Yeah,
as of to what he talked about.
That's true. That's very true.
And so now the
Close to the
oratory
0.5,
part.
yeah.
Do you give him a 4 or 5 just because he didn't trip up? 4?
Yeah.
4 or 5?
Yeah. Something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. It wasn't anything spectacular.
So that's what, 2.25 total score.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe like 2.5,
2.5.
something like that.
2.2. Okay.
Yeah,
I think that's fair.
It was very. I thought it was very bland, and like you said, a lot of stuff was wrong. You know, a lot of stuff there was a lot of stuff that we can't highlight because we would be going the whole show if we actually,
because there was like 25
everything.
different individual things. A lot of past price is 1.75.
1.75, yeah. D plus, yeah. Warren Fry says lies. Shout out to Warren Fry, another one of our patrons.
You said fries. You
Did I
said
say
Warren
fries?
Fries.
I must be hungry. I must be hungry. Warren Fries.
I think you looked at because he said lies.
Yeah.
You kind of combined.
Oh, I might have fry lies. Moose Gal said F is my grade.
I mean, 2.7, 2.25 or 1.75 is pretty much F.
That's not a very good grade. No, that's pretty bad. Yeah. More Fries, I heard them all.
Yeah, Jen. We'll see
What's
you
up,
there.
Jen?
We'll see you in the after the show. It's the after
Gotta get
party.
these trees and catch the after show.
After the party, it's the hotel.
Yeah, all right. So
lobby.
let's get to the after show. We're gonna get on Facebook in a few minutes. If you're game, if you want to hear a little bit more talk, we actually have a few other things to talk about.
We're just gonna like kind of loose notes.
Some other topics that we'll address. We didn't, they weren't pressing or anything like that to talk about on the show. But yeah, we're gonna Arpaio and your favorite
Teriyaki lentils.
Teriyaki lentils. I gave the name on Facebook.
Or some people call her tummy larva.
He doesn't like to say the name. I gave the name. But anyway, thank you for all of you for being here with us on this night, on this Thursday night, the start of Black History Month.
The shortest month.
And we're gonna have something to say about that too. Yeah, we'll have something to say about that. But anyway, we'll be back next week on Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, same time. Shout out to all of our patrons and our newest patron, Aaron Barnett, man. Shout out to you, man. Appreciate the help, man. That's all I got, man.
Yeah, man. That's good show tonight.
Very good show.
Appreciate y'all joining us as always.
So, like I said, we hope everybody has a good night
and a good weekend.
Come check us out on Facebook if you have the time. If not, we will see you next week. All right. So let the madness begin, and we are out.